Hello, welcome to the Ox Wargame. It's me and Dan, ready for a new round at this Warhammer Age of Sigmar event, the Fat Middle.
It speaks to me, on a spiritual and physical level just now. I'm realizing a lot of my pants are, like after Christmas, your pants are always a little bit tighter. They are almost unwearably so. So I'm currently feeling the fat middle in my girthy loins right now.
We're hype. So the Fat Middle event is a TTS, so a tabletop simulator event for Age of Sigmar. There's over 50 people playing, with 6 people available to potentially take out the top spot. So there were 3 tables to choose from. There were loads. There was a double Archeon. There was an Archeon on one table, an Archeon on this. They're all interesting. Benjamin's is a particularly interesting one. I'm going to talk about some of those in a moment. But we did decide to go for a Lurid Haze Slanesh list with Archeon in against Orkman. And Orkman is running eels. I'm joking, because he's running orcs. Yeah, and the interesting thing about this battle is it's going to be played over Scorched Earth. The interesting thing about this event, if you haven't been tuned in at any point, is that 6 factions are banned. 6 factions are banned from being picked from this event. So the most popular was Crazy Horse. Thanks for the donation. Big love to you. So the most popular faction was Cities of Sigmar. That's the one we see the most. But we did break out all the orcs into different factions. Big War, Bone Splitters, and also the Ironjaw's Allegiance into different books. The problem is, Dan, as you know, if you let all the orcs coalesce together, it gets really wrong really quick.
It's a big problem. Obviously, as soon as they get to anywhere close to one another, being that they are a fungus, they just reproduce like that. And before you know it, you've got way more orcs in your backyard than you initially planned on. So you've got to be very careful in that regard.
Yeah, way more. Right, so let me tell you quickly what is in the lists. So you've got the Lurid Haze Slanesh list, which is a sub-faction of a sub-faction, which is Invaders. So you go Slanesh.
Wait, is it Inception? Are we looking at like some Slaanesh-ception here? Like it's Slanesh, it's evil chaosy things inside of evil chaosy things inside of evil chaosy things?
I think so. I think that's basically how it works.
Okay, cool.
So then Archeon's got Hysterical Frenzy, which is a horde clearing spell. Then you've got Chaos Sorcerer Lord with a Rod of Misrule. That's going to get him a bunch of CP on the table. There's a Keeper of Secrets. Obviously, he's a general with obviously the Sinister Hand. He's got Feverish Anticipation. You've got the Oil of Exaltation and the Progeny of Damnation. Now, there's 20 Chaos Marauders, 2 units of 5 Chaos Warriors, another 20 Chaos Marauders, and then, for some reason, a Chaos Spawn. But this is all in the Pleasure-Bound Warband as well. So it's effectively a 2-drop list. Yeah. So it's very low drop, which is really good. But the big important things to take away here is it's Lurid Haze. So Lurid Haze is going to, at the start of the game, be able to take D3 units off the board, redeploy it anywhere else on the tabletop. Dan, do you want to take us through the orc list? Have you got it to hand?
Yes, certainly do. So we're looking at now anyone who has played Ironjaws recently will be completely unsurprised to learn that we're looking at the Iron Suns here. They really are the ones that everybody goes for. It's a bit of an obvious call because it's significantly stronger, arguably, than a lot of the other ones. So their battle trait for the Iron Suns, this is just their sub-faction across the board. -1 to hit in the first battle round against them, which is a really great defense against going if your opponent chooses to go first or makes you go first. Given their speed, they can commit really early, really easily without being worried. They can do so many things great. Really, really strong. Same with Tempest Eye, but the difference is, unfortunately, these guys are a lot faster than Tempest Eye. So, and building on top of that, we're also looking at this lovely, lovely command ability that the Iron Suns gives them, which is at the end of this, and I hate this one. I'm emotionally scarred by this one still. It happened to me at LVO. It's happened to me far too many times. I just am sad in my insides when I think about it. It's called All Right, Get 'Em, which I feel like is probably muttered in many an English pub. And it's use it at the end of the enemy charge phase. You pick one friendly unit that's within 3 to 12 of an enemy unit and wholly within 18 of a friendly hero, and they can charge. Just right busts up your opponent's command phase. And the command trait, you get an extra command point at the start of the battle. So it's really, really useful, really, really strong in there. And then to walk us through the list, I'm pretty confident that anyone who has a cursory understanding of Ironjaws is going to be aware of what formation we've got in here, what war scroll battalion. So we've got the Uruk Megaboss, as you obviously need, with the Sunblazed armor. So he's at rend -1 to his rend. So he,
Look
as
at him,
in like,
stood on top of that rock, as
yeah.
you guys can see him there.
Mm.
Yeah, looks
Reducing
great.
rend by 1 and currently in cover. So that's a really lovely little combo there. Then we've got 2 War Chanters because you don't never go outside without a War Chanter. One with a get 'em beat for smashing stuff better. One for a fixin' beat for fixing stuff up and healing it good. A Weird Knob Shaman with great green visions, which gives you an extra command point on a 4-up every turn. And then the great big green hand of Gork, because that's obviously the hand that you want to start with, and a lovely little Fungoid Cave Shaman because they always go in right. Now we've got a unit of 6 Gore Grunters, 2 units of 3 Gore Grunters, 10 Brutes with 2 big old Gore Choppers in there, and 10 Ard Boys, and then an allied-in unit of 20 Shooters. And what can 20 Shooters take, chat/Rob, that, as in Grot Shooters, I should say, that makes them the strongest unit in the game? The answer is nets. They can take a net. So there we go. 3 nets in there just to make you -1 to hit. Doesn't matter if you're a Mega Gargant. They throw the net around your big toe. Buggier, -1 to hit. Now, for those playing at home who did guess it, the battalion we're rocking is the Iron Fist, which is kind of cool. Usually you see Iron, like Ard Fist as well as Iron Fist. Like you don't often see like Iron Fist, less common might be the way to go. And that's the Gore Grunters, Ard Boys, all that jazz. It's 3 to 5, sorry, I should say, units of the Gore Grunters, Ard Boys, Brutes. So it's pretty much just going to be all of those lovely angry orcs there. And one of the battalion bosses, which I don't actually know which one it is, I'm guessing it's going to be from the 6-man unit of Gore Grunters, is treated as if it were a mega boss. And once in each of your hero phases, you can use the Mighty Destroyer's command ability from their allegiance for free. Without using a command point. What that lets you do is you pick a unit. If they're within 12 of an enemy unit, they can charge. If they're within 3, they can attack. And if they're outside of 12, they can just straight up move. Which means that's... so what I was talking about, where you're -1 to hit in the first battle round, but if your opponent gives you the first turn, you can cross that board lickety-split. That's just giving them more opportunities to do that for free because they love a good old discount in the Boxing Day sales.
Yeah, there's loads to unpack here. I'm just going to quickly run everyone through the board, as you guys can see. We're playing Scorched Earth. My favourite battle plan of GHB 2020. There are 8 objectives on the board, as you can see. Turn 1, you can't burn any of them, but you can score them. So you're able to score them, basically same as you would score anything. However, after battle round 2, you can burn your enemies' objectives. You do need to be able to do. You need to, but you can't burn them if they have a hero within 6 inches of the objective, right? And that's going to be a big one. However, if they do burn yours and they have a hero nearby, you get a bonus. You get a bonus VP. So there is loads and loads of like play and adding up as the time goes on. I really like it because it really does show armies that suffer from board control. Struggling a lot on this tabletop, and I would say some of the inclusion of this unit of 20 shooter boys might be one of the reasons. So this is the little grots we have here. Might be one of the reasons that we've seen this whole thing happen. But this is look at that Chaos Spawn. There he is, hiding away. So you got Archeon and Sinesh. Archeon and Keeper of Secrets. That Keeper of Secrets, obviously next to the Fane, so they can blow up the artifact, which they always sacrifice to that thing turn 1.
It's such a dickhead move as well. Like Slanesh is, for those who aren't aware, you throw an artifact into the Fane and you get buffs for the rest of the game based on what you threw in. But if you take an artifact that's one use only, burn it in the first turn and still throw it in, Slanesh still loves it, even though it's secondhand and doesn't work. It's like you went to like the cash for gold place and they were like, oh, I've got this broken, shattered bit of metal. And then you were like, oh, sweet, amazing. Let me give you lots of money for it. It doesn't make any sense. And yet Slanesh, the greedy guts that it is, that'll just take any old crap, basically.
Right, so the turn 1, Dan. Turn 1, we've seen we've seen the turn be given away to the Iron Jaws. So the Sinesh force here They've given away the turn to the Ironjaws. Ironjaws in their hero phase. We've already seen them summon the Arachna Cauldron down here. They've also generated a bunch of CP, which we will track in a moment, but they're up to 5 command points. And then he used the wounds from the Arachna Cauldron, though, went onto these brutes. The important thing to remember, though, is this isn't just a Slanesh force. This is a Lurid Haze Slanesh force. So we're going to get summoning points. All of the multi-wound models, and these pigs are good examples of it, they're going to be some nice, tasty depravity points that they're going to chew up. But D3 units were able to start off the board at the start of the game because he's playing Lurid Haze. Don't know what he rolled, but he's only put 1 unit of Marauders. But as we learned on the last show, or as I got to tell Adam about on the last show, them Marauders, they rarely fail a charge.
Yeah, and they're let's be honest, Marauders are shocking models. However, they as in when I say shocking models, I mean their design in their plastic version. However, there's a reason you see them in almost every Chaos army. It's because they're amazing. The Arachna Cauldron for me, very fun little spell because it has to do mortal wounds to a unit to remain, and if it's not, it does it to the caster who's in control of it. It's a really cool little get there. And oh my goodness gracious me, Slanesh gave away the first turn, and as we can see here, that pace, that absolute pace. However, I can see why you give away the first turn in this instance, because if you're being honest, in reality, a double turn from this list is a horror show, and it's almost signing up for defeat. So I can see why you certainly have to give it away, especially with that chunky little pathetic screen of Chaos Warriors and Marauders to keeping you safe.
Yeah, and you really don't want to screen with Marauders. Marauders in a 20 are phenomenal. They're really excellent. They're a nice little punch unit. What the brutes are doing here are what Marauders normally do. So you don't often want to actually screen with the Marauders where you can help it, truthfully. However, he's going to need to, because as we've seen here, this is just hero phase movements. That unit of brutes, they've taken D3 mortal wounds. They took 2, which means they're going to get to move an extra D6. They're going to get to move an extra D6 right after this teleport, so they're going to be straight into that Chaos Warrior objective. And I really like what's happening here, because Orkman is splitting the field. He's saying, look, you've got some major threats here, Archeon and Slanesh. Sorry, not Slanesh, the Keeper of Secrets, sorry. You've got some major threats here, but now I'm going to make you split them up. I'm going to make you run away from the center, and I'm going to drag you out to the edges. It's really good. Whereas the pigs, this is only a hero phase movement. This is all it is, hero phase movement. I imagine that we've seen, so we've seen this hero phase movement here, which means we're going to get another movement in the movement phase, which then we're going to see this charge in. So we could lose these 2 flanking units of Chaos Warriors, and then really put this like powerhouse of 1,200 points in Archeon and the Keeper of Secrets, and say, do you want to split up? Are you going to go different ways? And then, and just give them an option, really. They've still got these Gore Grunters at the back to run through as well. We just double check to make sure both of these units, you can see, have been buffed up. Both units of Gore Grunters have been buffed with +1 damage. So they're going to probably clear that Marauder screen, and then they're probably going to clear these Warriors. So it's a pretty strong first turn.
The one thing that's interesting, though, is like, now let's be completely honest, Rob, chat, Ironjaw's players known for their brutality, not so much their cunning. Not across the board, but often. They love a good move. They love a good charge. They love to smash stuff in the face. And to be honest, what we're seeing here is that. It's a big commitment, turn 1 in the hero phase alone. I'm a little concerned seeing that big old block of Marauders off to the side that's going to get to pop up from a board edge somewhere. Once these 3 units charge in and commit, which is what we're almost certainly going to see, outside of that mega boss and 6 Gore Grunters, there's not a lot holding those back objectives. I mean, look, there's netters, so let's not confuse ourselves for a heartbeat that the most powerful unit in the game is there defending. But against 20 Marauders, if they get through those Gore Grunters and then pick up the double turn, the backfield for the Ironjaws could be in just as much trouble as the deployment zone for Slanesh already is.
Well, yeah, so it's going to be a big scoring turn, first turn. So effectively there's a rule, and I'm just going to reinforce the point so you guys at home know what's going on. Mortal wounds done here from the Arachna Cauldron meant that this unit got to make a move, basically. after it teleported. So there's 2 overlapping rules, and they rolled a 6. So Great Green Handerhawk 9 inches away, an additional 6-inch move. So they're now needing a 3-inch charge into those Chaos Warriors. So they are loving life. And look at this. Look at the pressure.
Yeah.
That's being applied. It's massive. And Scorched Earth is a very, very, very tough scenario. We don't forget we've got 20 Marauders off the field for the Sineshi Force. So that's why I think these pigs are here. They're going to try and hold up an area. The Mega Boss is not a bad lad, though. Hey, he can fight. He's got some punch. But you would expect to see those Warriors. The Warriors have to come in on the table edge as well. So they're going to be in a tough spot. But these pigs are proving why they're so, so good, especially with that buff, Dan, because you're adding +1 damage to 2 different weapon profiles, which is just really, really good.
And I'm actually a bigger fan of pigs than I am of brutes. Agreed. And I'll throw this out to going all the way back to the lovely Chris Welfare of the Mortally Wounded fame for opening my eyes to this, because I used to be a brute. I was a brute man through and through. Not the scent, a little bit aggressive to the nostrils for me, but the brutes themselves. And then he pointed out something, that in a unit of brutes, after you've taken 9 wounds, that unit has lost 3 out of 5. Like, it's lost 60% of its effective damage output. Once you've taken 9 wounds on Gore Grunters, you've only lost 1, or like 1/3 of the damage that unit can put out there. More chances for healing, more chances for a lot of things. And that, for me, was a really big realization. That was the first time I really considered how many wounds a unit can take and still have a really strong effective output. And that, for me, is where Gore Grunters shine. It's like, damn, if you could take 9 wounds and have only lost 1 model, that's a strong flex.
Yeah, it's big. And there's lots of other stuff going on here that we're not seeing. It looks like an early strong play. But let's not forget, this is an army that will suffer attrition. When we lose a unit of pigs, we lose a unit of pigs. That's the end of the day. They're not coming back. They're not returning to us from the grave. Same with the brutes. However,
and what happens when we lose a unit of pigs, Rob? Because for every unit of pigs we lose, for every unit of brutes we lose to the lovely Slaneshi forces, we're going to be seeing something coming and joining them. It's not just attrition. It's a value multiplier going in Slanesh's direction.
It's so good. It's so good. All you're really getting in this situation is you're just farming depravity here. There's not really much he can do about that, ultimately. It's why, and there's wounds galore. Look, there's 2 depravity points in each one. 2 depravity points in each one of the brutes over here. So this unit of 10 is a 20 pot pool of depravity. Over here, though, these little Gore Grunters, they're worth 12 depravity per unit, so there's lots of depravity there. So he could potentially get himself up to 24 depravity out of them 2 units. So there's loads of points for summoning. So as we lose pigs, as we lose the ham, we just get some depravity. I feel like the Sineshi guy on the Palanquin would love this, Dan. I think he would absolutely love this. He'd be like, "Oh my god, I'm so hungry for ham." Is what he'd say.
He'd be sitting up there just being like, delicious, tasty morsels. And I assume that's how he talks as well. Like every bad kind of like 1990s video game villain, back where everything was an archetype, like a caricature. That's pretty much how he talks. And as soon as he starts hitting boards, I will voice him every game. Every decision he makes, that is the voice that he's going to have. I'm very excited to see that model as well. I reckon there's going to be some wonderful paint jobs and conversions come out. Absurd as it is, I dig on it. Because if I was in Age of Sigmar, that's who I'd like to be. Well, I'd like to be.
Dan, there's been a lot of names bandied around for what the new Sinesh model is. Fatacross is one of the people that's been. The other one is the Wank Wagon. I'm not sure I agree with that one as much, but there's a lot of options. I think Fatacross gets it really for me.
Fatacross is great. I love Scott B suggesting it's Hedonism bot from Futurama. Absolutely, that's great. As long as we don't call it the Cream Chariot, I think we're fine.
We're very okay. My favorite thing about that model is if it's really, really, really good in the game, how many of them we're going to see on the tabletop that look awful because they are very hard to paint.
Oh
That's
my
not going to
gosh,
be easy.
the
There's
amount
going to
of
be so
detail
many
in that.
fugly versions of those guys, which anything is more Sineshi than anything else. Like, I'm in love with that. I think that
Mm.
is that's brilliant.
Yeah,
So
I
let's
think
go on.
Battlecross wins for me, but hands down, it's hard to beat.
Agreed. Fatacross is brilliant. So this unit of Chaos Warriors, they're not long for this world. It's going to be a
No.
big scoring turn for Orkman. That's right. That's who's piloting this. Orkman's travelled all the way over from Germany. He's on 2-0, as is Seb from the South London Legion. He is 2-0 as well with this Lurid Haze list. So, but there are more people out there vying for the first place. On table 1, but they're all on 2-0. So when I say table 1, the top bracket, you've got Philip Kartiev, and he has got his Hammerhall Phoenix Guard units. He's got loads of Phoenix Guard. He's got a Frostheart. He's got a Flamespire. He's up against a Stormkeistadors.
So I was about to say, yeah,
Stormkeistadors!
they took a lot of the ink and gold. No, it's Storm Keep. I'm surprised you can't pronounce that. I'm the one who's still like furiously scarred by it. And I'm it's early for me, so I'm drinking coffee. Please don't make me get drunk this early having to talk about goddamn Storm Keeps.
So you got all the Phoenix Guard in the world versus the Stormkeep Stormcast Eternals army, which has
all
got
the Liberators in the world.
Well, no, Dan, it's only got the 30 Liberators, and then it's got 9 Vanguard Raptors as the other thing in the list. There's 40 Liberators in the list. Sorry.
Oh my gosh,
I changed my mind.
I hate it already. It makes me I like literally my the pieces of me that make me a man just retreated inside myself with fury.
So
that's how upset I am about that.
Yeah, over on table 2 though. Benjamin won his game against Kharadron Overlords, much to his surprise as well as anyone else's. In round 2, so he's a 2-0 with his Slaves to Darkness Archeon list, but it's got the allied in, but well, not allied in, they're mercenaries, Flayers. So it's a Bravery D-Bomb list in Slaves to Darkness with Archeon. And he's gone 2-0 with that, which was super fun. And he's up against a DOK Hagnar list, so Daughters of Cain Hagnar list, run by Vito. Vito, who we had on the last game of the stream last time we did this, Dan, who was running around. Remember, with his Skinks and his Seraphon?
Yeah.
And that's interesting because obviously Benjamin, pretty much the Daughters of Cain Hagnar player in the world. Like, that's his list to beat. So it'll be interesting to see how he plays that game. On table 3, you've got Alan, who we had in the last game with his Knights of the Empty Throne list, super great list, against Cole,
awesome.
who we've had on the show previously, and we've talked about his list before with his mixed Skaven. So there's 40 Plague Monks, there's 6 Storm Fiends, there's a Deceiver, your classic kind of mixed arm set of
I was about to
stuff.
say, yeah, you're mixed fur. Your scrabbly mixed fur list.
Exactly. Just to quickly jump back to the game so you guys can catch up with, all the charges are successfully done here. The pigs on the left, they've got double damage, don't forget, or +1 damage into the warriors. The other unit of pigs, again, +1 damage. And then all the brutes, they needed 3 into the Chaos Warriors. Let's not forget smashing and bashing as well. So if one of these units gets wiped out, it's just going to be a straight line of attack. So we're going to lose all that in a turn. Although that is arguably the screens, it's pretty much most of the list.
I'd be surprised if any of that is left standing. However, I think that if right now, if I'm playing Slaanesh, I'm looking at it hoping that possibly one of those units hangs on with like our wound just to tag it in place. But I don't think that any of those units is long for this world.
Yeah. So one of the, I agree with you absolutely, Dan. Just a quick one on the Benjamin list. One of the important things to note about the Mercs thing in Benjamin's list is the reason it's now legal again is because Forbidden Power. So Games Workshop, when they did GHB 2020, inside the 2020 they said only stuff that's got a battle tome is legal tourney-wise. So that meant stuff from White Dwarf and some other stuff therefore was no longer legal. So what they did was they did an FAQ. And they said a list of things where rules were available and legal from. So that would be White Dwarf stuff.
So that's where they came back.
And then Mercs came back in that point.
Gotcha.
So that's the situation. Just for people at home who are just like, oh, that's interesting. So yeah, which is cool. And then just some quick ones. Table 4, another Daughters of Cain Hagnar list with Stefan. But he's up against 2-0. Would you believe it? He's just off the back of beating up another Daughters of Cain army. It's Math Mallow with a Sylvaneth army. That's right.
I'm scandalized. What are the tree people What are the tree people doing in a list of armies that could take out the event? Now I don't care. You can
It's
tell me that
2021, Dan. It's the good times.
22, and you know what? The best way I've heard 2021 described is no one say that it's their year. You know, don't go around being like 2021 is going to be my year. I'm going to crush it. Be like, no, let's just like it's a pool of indeterminate temperature on a winter's day. We're just going to dip a toe in, see how 2021 is, and take it out. Now, if my dipping a toe into this year is seeing Sylvaneth potentially taking out an event, I'm excited. I like that's a good sign. Touch wood, but I don't want to call this year too early. Going to be a great year. Sylvaneth, thank you, Math Mallow, for giving me hope.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I'm very, very excited about that. I was arguably going to put that on the show as well. But Math Mallow trying so hard with that list for a while. We're just going through these combats at the moment. Smashing and Bashing is activating, and we're seeing lots of units die. On table 5, you have an Archeon Sinesh list. Again, another Lurid Haze Archeon. He's up against a 1-drop shootcast list, so that's a major issue. For both of those players, because either the shootcast will get you or the Archeon wins. And then finally, this is the game we're talking about, another Sinesh Archeon list versus Orkman. So all these people potentially can take out the event. I mean, our hearts and our minds have to go for the Sylvaneth play, Dan. We're all...
I look, I believe in Harvey Dent. I want to believe in Batman, which would obviously be the Dreadwood because they're scary. I think just like life has taught me not to believe in fairy tales, though, so I don't think it can happen. I'm still scarred by 2020, but gosh, I would love it to be the case. So I'm my heart of hearts, as much as I hate to cheer for a fake elven tree spirit, they should obviously only be used as kindling in a lovely forge fire to build some good dwarven stuff. My heart of hearts wants them to get it.
Me too.
So, okay, should we make bets? Who thinks we're going to see a marauder survive? I like the one little lonely marauder hold out, because I think it's possible. I think we could maybe see one of these little nuggets not get turned into giblets.
Oh, well, you missed the last game, Dan. Game one. Game one, we saw a unit of Ungol Raiders get smashed by a Mega Boss on War Crusher, and the CP was used to keep the one remaining Ungol Raider alive, eyeballing the Mega Boss on War Crusher, just eyeballing him, being like, You what? You
just a power flex. Yeah.
But unfortunately, that didn't. He died then in the next hero phase, as he was loath to do. If you look at this on the board, this unit of Gorgrunt was activated. They killed their guys, their Chaos Warriors, which went smashing and bashing with the 10 brutes, which they killed their Chaos Warriors, unsurprisingly. And now the final activation is going to be another smashing and bashing, which is a rule that the Ironjaws have. If they charge in, if they activate in combat and they wipe a unit out, then you're able to immediately attack again with another unit that hasn't attacked. And this way you can combo attacks, which is really, really strong.
It means that you can just completely ignore all of the lovely turn mechanics there. I'm guessing nothing was in range to get iconed and stopped and, made to strike last, which is the annoying little Slanesh ability that has been balanced compared to where it was in the first book. So it's a very clean slate. Yep. Oh, and it's a big scoring turn for the Ironjaws as well.
Yeah, Ironjaws.
Big 7.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like one of the really good things that you could do with this army effectively is you can just intentionally score heavy very early on this scenario. Like it rewards aggressive play quite a lot, as you can see here. However, like there's a lot of holding on, there's a lot of options, and really Seb has got a lot of options here. Archeon's going to go in and womp something, but he needs to womp a lot of stuff all at the same time. And there's arguably a lot on the tabletop, right? Does he want to go get the 30 brutes? And wherever he leaves, then if he doesn't get the priority, he might lose his home objectives to Burns. However, he could potentially... Archeon's pretty fast. You could get the Keeper Secrets into the pigs, Keeper Secret into the next unit of pigs. Now, one of the reasons I think that this is a cool play by Orkman, I think this is brilliant. Like, look, this is really good Warhammer. Let's talk about this. He's given these 2 pigs as the most easy, like the easiest option. They're like, look, come and get these, eat them, and you're good. Even on the double, the most he might get it to over here. However, the other pigs, that unit of 6, get them buffed up from the War Chanter, they're into Archeon. That's the major threat for Archeon right now, is that big brick of 6 pigs. So it's going to be...
I think the other thing that's well done here is separating the 2 units of 3 pigs with a good distance between them, meaning that if Slaanesh tries to do that cheeky little pile in and attack twice, let's say the Keeper of Secrets goes in, kills 1 unit, and then wants to try and pile in and attack again, I'm guessing they're far enough away that won't be within reach to hit both units. And something that I know, like a lot of people, even that have been playing Age of Sigmar for quite a while, often miss, is that the rule is that you get to pile in if you completed a charge or if you're within 3. So let's say you have 2 units that charge 1 unit. The first unit activates and kills that unit. The second unit that you have can still pile in even though there's nothing to fight because they completed a charge, giving you an extra 3 inches of movement to capture an objective, get behind a screen, get into cover, do whatever the hell you need it to do. And so you could potentially try and go for the double there, but it looks like the Keeper is going to just stick in the middle and hold that objective.
I think Seb has made a really smart play here. I think bringing Archeon over here towards the largest threat, which is these 6 pigs, really does. We saw those 6 pigs. They were more central here. No, they weren't. Sorry, they were here, and they've just moved up fairly aggressively. But they didn't move into the center board because I think what they wanted to do is play chicken with Archeon, with one of them getting the priority role. So instead, he's gone over to deal with the brutes over here. Now, let's not forget what we're going to see here. There's a big farm of depravity available from that unit of brutes, and also from this unit of Gorgrunters. However, because of the sub-faction that we've got rocking around for the Uruks, they're -1 to hit. And a lot of talk in the chat that -1 to hit, the Keeper is going to whiff.
It's a strong call. And I don't know. Like, remember, this Keeper's going to pop its artifact and throw it into the Fane, and Slaanesh will be like, "Oh, sweet, broken toys, awesome!" And let that Keeper, I believe, reroll hits and wounds, or just hits. So there'll be some stuff there. I also think that the Slaanesh really is going to almost need that double turn. Because after Archeon and the Keeper pop these units, they're going to need to wait until next turn to summon anything with depravity, and they really want to at least summon, say, some Demonettes or some Seekers to screen out the 6 Gore Grunters that are going to be chilling out down there unmolested. So I think that it's definitely a call where it's going to be tight. It's going to be tight for that one for Slaanesh.
Yeah, you guys are all correct. This is actually a Chaos Spawn. I'm just going to rotate him so you guys can... no, that's rotate. There we go. Just going to rotate him so you guys can see how pretty he is. Look at this gorgeous Chaos Spawn here. All right. So that's the Chaos Spawn in here as well. There's a lot to unpack here. Now, a clever little play is the Chaos Sorcerer Lord's also moved for a couple of reasons. Obviously, he's going to want to do Oracular Visions next turn, as well as be able to do his buff. Which is rerolls to hit and wound from demonic power. However, also having a hero on any of the objectives is good because it means your opponent can't burn them. That is what that means, and is very, very important. There's a lot going on here. Very important to see if at this point Seb does roll that 3-up on this unit of Gorgrunters because they've got the extra damage on them. If he doesn't roll the 3-up, which is going to be a major deal. So he's got this charge off here. Those Marauders only rolled a 4, which means they have made a 9-inch charge.
It's absurd. It's absurd. Why, if you have a unit that hasn't been given new models since I'm pretty sure
Dan.
Marauders got a new model when I was still in early high school. Anyway, whatever.
If you had a unit called the Runners, you would want them to run 2d6. You won't want them running half or something. You got to give them a rule. They're marauding. That's what they're doing.
I guess they are. They're semi-naked. They're not wearing much armor. Nothing's slowing them down. Not even proper dress sense. or they're kind of like Ken dolls though, like Barbie dolls. They got a very hefty upper body, and they always skip leg day.
They do. They do. Look at the board has switched so much in this
Mm.
turn. If you guys have just joined us, the first turn was given away to the Iron Jaws. Right, so we've just found out that the Keeper of Secrets has got his Locus off, and that is really, really important. Archeon hasn't got his off, but that's less important. Orc Command's not going to be able to bring as many brutes to bear in close combat. Therefore, he's going to not take anywhere near as much damage. Plus, obviously, he's got all of the good buffs in his Archeon anyway. He's also been given reroll 1 to hit and reroll 1s to save, I think. From CP, so he's just been given that there. So he's going to pile and activate first, which is a bit of a it's the right decision, but it puts this fight down here with the Netters as being a bit risky because those are 20 Marauders. If he does one Marauder off that unit, they lose Rend. Rend.
It's the one thing that I would love to know as well. There would be, which I don't think we don't have in the list, is which model in the actually. You know what? It's almost certainly going to be the grunter in the 6-man unit, but which is the battalion boss? Because what could have been a key play there would have been using the ability to charge in the 3 additional grunters off to the side to add a little bit more hate onto the spawn.
So Dan, we're just into the combat phase right now with Archeon. Big plays happening. Not forgetting this Iron Sun's allegiance ability, meaning that their -1 to hit is meaning Archeon is fluffing a lot of his attacks. A lot of his attacks. He is not doing well at all in taking out these brutes, which is actually very, very, very important because he's away from the Keeper of Secrets, which is good. And it just means he's out there on his own, and if he can't clear that, he's going to be pinned in. But look at how the board has shifted. These Marauders taking down this bottom objective, the pigs up there. It's going to be very interesting. This Keeper of Secrets can't afford to whiff because really that's the linchpin. These two now are the linchpins of the army while they're generating depravity points. And that unit of Gore Grunters with I take 3 Gore Grunters with a buff, taking out a Keeper of Secrets in a turn, arguably. So
absolutely.
There's a lot to play for in these combat roles. A lot to play for. And another reason why you see maybe the Orcs go so aggressive early, because they know they're -1 to hit. It's about as strong as they're going to be. So they're like, let's go. This is going to go our way. So Archeon has done 12 damage in total, which is only 4 brutes.
Not much.
I mean, it's good, but there's 10 there, and he really needs to start clearing them out. And those brutes can hit back enough. They can start doing some damage and do the work. So there's lots to happen there. Now it's going to go down to come down to the boys, because this unit here has been locust. Dan, some people at home might not know what the locust is.
The Locust is a pain train full of hate, and you bought a ticket, but you didn't even want to get on. You were standing there, and suddenly you're like, what am I doing at a station? And this train of just unpleasantness pulled up, and you're like, what? I do not want to get on this train. And someone's like, well, I'm afraid the train decided for you that you're hopping on board. So what the Locust does is whenever you're in combat with a Slaanesh hero, and it's worse if you're within range of a greater demon of Slaanesh, they roll a dice at the start of the combat phase, and if they get the roll that they require, you must fight last after everything else is fought. Now, Greater Demons goes off on a 3-up. I believe regular stuff goes off on a 5-up for your regular heroes. Initially, it was much easier to do. It was like 2 and 4 or something. It was absurd. And it's really powerful because it lets you, especially with all of Slaanesh's fun, janky little abilities to get in there twice and use commander points to attack multiple times and whatnot. It's really great because you can just put things to fight last and then just keep hammering away at them and not worry about exchanging turns. So those Gore Grunters in the middle that are fighting that Keeper of Secrets, they will be striking last, which means that Archeon can go first and know that nothing bad is going to happen to our friend over there with the awfully named Oil of Exaltation. I don't want to know what it is. I'd rather not think about it.
Oh, it's what I do whenever we often have a weightlifting competition here in Nottingham every year. All the bodybuilders come, and I'm one of Nottingham's volunteer oil men. We oil up the strong men. That's one of the things we do.
You're the opposite of a firefighter. You're a fire lighter.
Yeah, they light a fire in my heart. Now, talking
Yeah.
about Sinesh, it's important to note that Archeon didn't actually pass his loci, so this unit of brutes will be able to attack before Archeon can attack again, which he will be able to do, which is fairly important. And we're going to see how the Keeper of Secrets does in this combat now, because it's activating. Although, have we not seen anyone else activate, or have we seen the brutes activate?
The brutes did 6 damage, so that's another 6 depravity.
Yeah,
which is,
so, I mean, 6 damage, 6 damage into Archeon as well. Now, don't forget, they've also got the Sinesh spell. They've also got the ability to heal some wounds, D3 into a unit, and also, and if they roll a 10 or more, it's going to be D6. Archeon himself can heal, so that 6 damage isn't permanent. Potentially could be back up to full wounds at some point. So there's lots to break out here, and there's still. I think the important fight is this Keeper of Secrets.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, they are just looking to murder. Probably one of the best models ever made, I would say. Like, even this TTS like variant, it's just outrageously good. Outrageously good. Oh, okay. So not a whiff, Dan. Not a whiff.
Not a whiff, but I don't think it was a perfect, clean sweep.
No, one pig has got 1 wound left, which is fairly important for piles in. So I'm pretty certain you'll still be able to pile in 3 inches, although we did measure 3.1 away. However, if that pig does get to strike back, which I doubt it will be able to, but I think Seb is only sat on this 1 command point here, Dan. And he's going to want to attack with Archeon. He's going to want to attack again with Archeon, unless he's just spent it on Archeon now, which I don't think he has.
See, well, that's the. So Archeon used the all-out attack, all-out defense, and +1 save. My gosh. Okay, so we committed hard to Archeon, which we had to.
However, that puts him in a problematic position now, because he spends the CP to go into the pigs, or over here, or he spends his last CP to go over into the brutes, and he can't do both. This is
in hindsight.
This is a choice.
I wonder if the Chaos Spawn failed its charge. I wonder if the Spawn failed its charge there, and that's why we're seeing this. Oh, so the Spawn didn't charge at all, is what we're just hearing from the table, which for me is kind of a missed opportunity, because you could have tagged either end of this the unit and stopped the Gore Grunters from piling into your Keeper, or at least got the attacks to pop it off there. However, I'd be surprised if this Grunter piles in for its ability to stay outside of 3 inches of the Spawn. However, the Marauders are going into the netters. I mean, the shooters, but realistically, it's about the nets.
Well, but importantly, the Grots were able to take 1 Marauder out before they attacked, so they have now lost Rend. Not that it's overly going to matter, because they're also Sinesh Marauders. So Sinesh Marauders are going to generate extra to hits on 6s. So that is a lot of attacks. That's 40 attacks coming in from that unit if everyone's able to pile in. So it's going to be super serious. Go on.
Rob, I'm just looking at this unit of shooters, because obviously there's only 3 models in this entire unit that matter, and that's the location of the netters. Now, Rob, there's no netter anywhere near those Marauders.
No, Nathan's going to be furious. Orc Command's put the netters all over the wrong place, but that's interesting, because where he placed the netters does really make me think, where does he think the attacks are going to come in from? However, look at this very useful placement. He has a netter. This is some pretty cool play. He has a netter right next to the Mega Boss here, just in case something got near the Mega Boss. Just in case, and then it would be -1 to hit, which, when you stack with the -1 to hit that you've already got from Iron Suns, you have a -2 to hit Mega Boss on cover, ignoring Rend 1, turn 1. That's pretty wild. That's like some really clever play. If anything, those 20 shooters might be in there. They're kind of like Geminids. Grot Geminids is what he's just brought along with him.
He demolished him. So we're just hearing from the table that the Marauders killed 11 of the Grots. which is they're not going to have enough left there to hold that objective on the side there, which means it's going back to the lovely furious naked marauders. But we'll see. I think the other thing that you always see from netters as well is that they're loath to be taken away until they have to, and it looks like, oh, we've got a netter down. We have a netter down, Rob.
They're gone. They are absolutely
gone.
gone.
They're
now,
cooked.
some clever measuring being done here. Obviously, the Mega Boss is the general. He's going to be trying to do Inspiring Presence, so he's going to be screening out 12 inches here. And he's trying to keep as many grots on the objective as possible. Very unlikely. Oh, okay. So instead of, listen to this, instead of the brutes, he's elected to take out the Gore Grunter instead. The CP, the last one, has been spent on the Gore Grunter, on the Keeper of Secrets. Now, I think I know why, Dan. You got any thoughts?
I think it's a key play. Honestly, I was looking at it, and that's the move that I would have done as well. Because the Gore Grunter is still a threat this turn. But also, if you get priority, you don't want to be stuck in combat with that unit, because the Keeper needs to go over there and clear off that other unit of 3. Whereas Archaon, where Archaon is, with the likelihood of rolling a Locust, but also just with the possibility of getting some buffs on and whatnot, Archaon should, cross fingers, should survive another round of combat with those brutes. Whereas the Keeper needed to be loosey goosey, free, and also able to summon if priority goes that way.
Okay. Oh, big play. The another brute has run away in the battle shock phase, which means we're going to be going into priority. But Slaanesh not really able to do much. So Slaanesh have only scored 3 from here as well. So they've. But
big move!
Me. Go on, Dan. Tell us all about it.
Okay, so we just had a priority that went down to a 1 and a 2. And it went to Slaanesh. So that big risk it for the biscuit to keep Slaanesh in this game has come off. So breathe a sigh of relief if you're a Chaos fan. If you were a greenskin hoping for some absolute carnage, you're going to have to wait another half turn because Slaanesh is in the driving seat. And I would say madness if Slaanesh doesn't take it.
I agree. I think he's absolutely going to take it. I think that's going to be very important. If you guys have just joined us, this is a Tabletop Simulator tournament game between a Lurid Haste Slaanesh list and a Orc list. Both of these players have won the first 2 games of this 3-game event. It's called the Fat Middle, where 6 of the top performing factions were banned. Loads of other armies still potentially in it. There's a Phoenix Guard Hammerhall list. There's a couple of Daughters of Cain lists. There's another Archaon Saves the Darkness list. There's even a Sylvaneth list in with a chance. However,
I believe in 2021. Come on, Sylvaneth. Give me hope for the year.
Me too. So we're just into the hero phase now for Slaanesh. Let's quickly fire through what happened in turn 1. Turn 1 was given away by the Slaaneshi force to the Orc force. We saw a unit of brutes over here teleported across the board after they'd taken some mortal wound damage from the Arachnid Cauldron. Then they moved forward a further 6, which meant they wiped out that unit of Chaos Warriors when they got into combat. 2 units of pigs, so the Gore Grunters, both with the +1 damage from the War Chanters, moved up the board. They took out a unit of Chaos Warriors on the left, and then they were able to take out a unit of Marauders in the right. However, Slaanesh first turn, they did pretty well. This Keeper of Secrets powered in, took out this unit of Gore Grunters. Over here, though, Archaon didn't do well, and he only managed to take out 4 of the Gore Grunters. Sorry, not the Gore Grunters, the Brutes, and then another one ran away. Into the hero phase, we've just heard rerolls to hit and wound put on Archaon from the Chaos Sorcerer Lord. And it's the first time he's got it off on the whole tournament. So it is going to be serious.
Big money. I think like what we're going to see here as well is it's going to be a big turn for Slaanesh. They're no longer at -1 to hit. I think what Seb's going to be aiming to do, bring the Keeper across to clear off that left-hand objective and take back and hold that board edge. I'd be very surprised if we don't see the summoning used to create a new screen. to stop that big 6 strong unit of Gore Grunters coming and just smashing their way onto an objective. That would be my call. Play it safe for turn 2 so that you can clear out your side of the board, summon a screen, and then commit into your turn 3, turn 4 to start taking objectives on your opponent's board and outscoring them. Because realistically, once that 6 strong unit of Gore Grunters has had its teeth pulled, there's not too much to be scared of still in this Uruk army.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's interesting having split the army apart. Initially, I thought this was a super solid play. Orkman splitting out Archeon and splitting out the Keeper so they go in different places. And ultimately, if that Keeper does elect to go after that unit of Gore Grunters at the top, it is going to have to face the fury and wrath of 6 ham sandwiches, like a sausage roll tornado. Absolutely flying forward.
That's just a horrifying prospect, but also it's been so long since I've had I haven't had a meat pie or a sausage roll since I moved to Canada. So I'm coming up on 2 years without just a solid, good old, even like give it to me with mutton. I don't care. I'm not picky. And right now, that sausage roll tornado, I'd be keen on it. I wouldn't want it using smashing and bashing, be fully buffed up and have a ton of wounds and attacks, because I don't want to be attacked by sausage rolls. I want to do the attacking, and I feel like that could be a bad time right here.
Yeah, there's not loads I can say about it otherwise than, as stated in the chat, 6 pigs with the buffs will smash anything to earth. It's going to be super serious, and a lot of people suggesting the meat pie shortage is why, Dan, you've started playing elves. That would make sense, apart from... but in England, we've got vegan sausage rolls, just to let you know. Tasty as hell.
I just want some kind of something rolled up in pastry that isn't sweet. And our proximity to America means everything's doused in sugar. I can't confirm that. That could be a lie.
So look at this. The Keeper of Secrets not going after the unit of 3.
No.
Making a big play into the unit of 6 pigs. That's brilliant. Pinning them to the back of the board. Maybe looking to put some screens up. Who knows? We sat on 28 depravity points. Don't forget that for some reason, Slanesh Force can also, as well as create summoning points all day, can also generate command points all day. So not only did they get 1 this turn, they generate an extra 2. So they sat on 3 command points as well for that fight twice ability that you're going to find on the Keeper of Secrets. So you might be able to have the Keeper of Secrets who's not -1 to hit anymore, who's destroyed his artifact in the Fane, go twice into this unit of 6 pigs at the bottom before they even get a chance to strike.
With that -1 to hit, the Keeper still only missed out killing the full 3 pigs by 1 wound. So theoretically, without -1 to hit, this Keeper should be able to clear 6 of them with only using a command ability to pile in and attack a second time. I'm guessing we're going to see a summon then to screen out the 3 pigs at the top, because otherwise or maybe summon something to deal with them. I don't know. That's just so odd. However, it is a good play. The 6 pigs are far scarier than the 3 pigs, which are too far away to get any buffs from anything, I think, which is probably worth remembering.
It's a great decision by Seb, ultimately. And Orkman's initial strategy is kind of coming back to bite him. The ability to split up here has been really good and drag the opponents away. However, there is a bit of a beat stick here in this Mega Boss. Now, the Mega Boss could... so this Mega Boss still could get teleported. There's still a great big green-handed Gork going out there. Iron Jaws with that +1 is still going to affect them as well. He could also take some mortal wounds from the Arachna Cauldron to get some extra range. So you could still see the Mega Boss go out there and do some damage. However, like the board being split now, I would have felt he would have wanted the Mega Boss to actually be in the fight if it was possible to be so, and not just lynched in the center of the board. So that's the really fun thing about this battle plan, is what we've ended up doing is we deployed in our lines like this with all of our major threats kind of central for both players, and now everything is in the flanks playing around there, and then the only major threat that's got nothing to do is just there's a spawn and a Mega Boss just eyeballing each other across the room, just screaming at each other. And now we've seen 20 Demonettes deployed on the tabletop as well. And those Demonettes potentially trying to go into those pigs also. Woo! There's a lot to play for.
Now, I'm not sure. I mean, off the charge, they're not quite as scary. They're still +1 damage. I'm pretty confident the Grunters are still at an extra damage. I don't know that I'd be charging the Demonettes. I think I'd be leaving them there and spreading them out so that they screen. Though they do have to be within summoning range of I think the Fane and the Keeper can both be used to generate that summoning range that they can be brought into. I don't know that I'd be charging them. I think what Seb's going to do, very cunning play so far, I'd leave them because that way the Grunters have to deal with you in their turn rather than getting the chance to knock potentially 20 Demonettes off the board in Slaaneash's turn and then have free reign of the board if things go poorly in that combat for the sexy ladies with their stabby claws.
So the Keeper of Secrets has got his charge off, or their charge off, sorry. And so we'll be fighting into the unit of Gore Grunters. And I think I agree absolutely here. The reason it was so important for the Keeper to pile and attack that extra pick is because he wants to be unwounded for this combat. But also, that 3-up, again, vital. He doesn't really care on Archeon. Archeon healed 3 in the hero phase, back up to 17. Not too bothered about Archeon, but that Keeper of Secrets needs that 3+ to be able to survive. Otherwise, those pigs are just going to punch that Keeper of Secret to death very, very quickly. And also, if he does elect to charge the Demonettes in, or try to get the Demonettes in, he's also going to want to get that Locus off, because he's going to want to activate with the Demonettes before he activates with Archeon, and before he activates with the Keeper of Secrets, ultimately. Oh, and it's no drama. He didn't, Dan, he absolutely agreed with you. No Demonettes to charge. Yeah, the Demonettes are staying where they are, but both Archeon and the Keeper of Secrets have got their Locus off, and this is just awful. I mean, what happened in that? What happened, Dan, in that first turn? 3 pigs went in, and they were like, well, we'll kill these Chaos Warriors, and then the other boys were like, smashing and bashing!
Yeah.
And they attacked, and then they were like, smashing and bashing! And now, like, Slaanesh just like, look, you play that game, yeah? You come at me with that, attitude.
It's a taste of your own medicine, basically. And let's be honest, it's like, as somebody who's copped a hiding from both smashing and bashing and the locuses, it's not fun being on the receiving end of either. The only small solace we can take is that both of these players do it to other people. So hopefully it's a little bit more understanding and comfortable when it happens to them. Now, in the chat, OS Tim asking if any brutes ran to Battle Shock. One cowardly greenskin gave up on his fellow greenskins and abandoned the fight against the World Ender. So that was fair enough. He'd seen a lot of horror, and he was just like, I'm 86, I'm out of here, I want nothing to do with it. And which is exactly what I'd expect of a greenskin. That's why they usually stick in such small numbers, so that when they run away, you can't tell. Now, the Marauders down here, are they still outside of the net range? That's the good. We've got a netter very close to them just there.
Very, very, very close.
And I believe that they're probably going to. I don't know that would Chaos or Slaanesh in particular. Do you think they burn objectives, Rob? Or what would they, or chat? What do you think Marauders do to objectives to destroy them in Scorched Earth? Because I feel like
they're just Marauders. They just maraud. That's all they do. They maraud only. Yeah. Which I don't know what that means, Dan. Maybe they dig a hole in. Maybe they probably just very annoyingly just take a shovel and just turn up the top level of each surface, of the ground soil. Just flip it over. That's all they do.
See, I assume that they did something horrifying to it, so that then whoever comes back the next day and is like, okay, come on, we need to rebuild the settlement. They see just the sheer amount of whatever it is. I'll leave that to everyone's imagination, and it's like, you know what? Not worth the cleanup, not worth the biohazard waste. Let's just build this settlement somewhere else.
Exactly. It's so the current activation is these Marauders at the bottom. I think is the activation that we're seeing right now. They only killed 2 grots. They only killed 2 grots, so excuse me, they didn't do very well at all. So now it is the Keeper of Secrets. We're looking to see how many of these Gore Grunters they're going to be able to lift off, and then they're going to activate again before the Gore Grunters can swing back. But at that point, it is going to be the Orcs' turn to start doing some smashing. But it's whether or not that Keeper of Secrets is going to be able to do stuff. Okay, so the Keeper's first activation is kill 2 Gore Grunters. So we've taken 2 out so far. So do you know what? If the best that Seb can do is another 2 before they can swing back, he's going to be over the moon with that.
Mm.
And the Keeper is going again straight away. He's
Ooh,
going to be
pressure time.
I think he's going to be fine with this ultimately. Like even 2 Gore Grunters with the buffs is absolutely going to do a solid job into that young Keeper of Secrets, but we'll see. He's obviously measuring here with the War Chanter. One of the things he doesn't want to do is make it so that they fail bravery. So he's going to be looking to spend that CP and keep them alive. So he's just measuring and seeing which ones he's killing first. So he's going to want to keep some of them in activation so that they can spend that CP to keep them in. Again, some nice little measure in there. Some people would just immediately start killing stuff. So it's smart play. Smart play. And then the Brutes. The Brutes are against an Archeon now who has healed 3 wounds and is re-rolling to hit, re-rolling its save, and re-rolling wounds. It's probably going to be... And they're now no longer -1 to hit. So it's going to be a very tough time for these Brutes up in this top corner. And I think Archeon is going to deal with those, which takes most of the major threats out for the Slaanesh force. But I got to say, I feel like both players have played a solid game. And then what's happened is Seb's counteracted very well. That priority was massive for Slaanesh, though, Dan.
Priority is what kept Slaanesh in the game. Realistically, that Slaanesh needed that priority. Otherwise, they were just there's too much speedy orc hate that would be all over them like white on rice. Though we're just hearing from the table that Keeper's round 2, its little double dip where it was like, oh, I might go back for seconds. Thank you very much. Only killed 1 more Grunter.
Well, didn't even do kill 1. Just did 5 damage. Went onto the boss, which has got 7 wounds, which has left those 4 pigs alive. Now, don't forget, even when he buffs up the Gore Grunters next time, when he buffs up the Gore Grunters with the damage, the Keeper of Secrets still can locust them, so that because it doesn't just work in the Slaanesh turn. Sadly, it works in every turn. However, if he can activate Smashing and Bashing, if he can activate that will override the Keeper's ability. So and there's got to be some counterplay there.
The other one, though, that Slaanesh won't hate too much, Seb will be okay with it, is that every wound that Keeper takes is depravity, to be generating potentially a new Keeper of Secrets in the backfield. Yeah. I'm guessing we're seeing Archeon doing mean things to those poor Brutes up in the top right-hand corner at the moment. I feel like it's going to be nasty and very choppy for, 5 remaining Brutes there? Yeah, 5 Brutes. They're going to learn a thing or two about messing with somebody who ruined Warhammer Fantasy for all of the people who've raged about its lack of existence.
So another thing that chat's making sure we keep up with is in the hero phase. In the hero phase, not forget, because it's an Ironjaw's Allegiance ability, you obviously also are going to be able to activate Mighty Destroyers, Dan, and that unit is already in combat, so that means they're going to be able to fight. So they can fight in the hero phase, which the Locust won't affect. So those 4 pigs should go out. But Archeon, look at this. He's like 30 wounds on a 4-up save. No problem, Jim.
Let's have a look at that. Yeah, no, it was... I don't think anyone... I think the surprise was that he didn't do it earlier with that -1. I still genuinely thought that he'd do enough damage that his... Archeon has a... thank you for reminding me, OJ. He's got that -2 bravery bubble. So I'm surprised he didn't do enough damage to make them all run away. It was apparently a very strong battle shock roll that kept them around. So you know what, Archeon
1 or something. So even with that, it was pretty positive. But it's looking very, very strong for Slaanesh now. Very, very strong.
We are also only in turn 2, so when you see 2 fast combat damage heavy armies, they've completely mopped the floor with the majority of the models that started on there. Just Slaanesh have the ability to cheat and bring models back.
Well, look at that. So they spent, I think, Belgrave, thanks for subscribing. Big love to you. And, oh no, Pragmatic, thanks for gifting a subscription. You're brilliant. That's so nice of you. So big love. I appreciate all of you watching live. It's been such a fun day doing coverage. I love it so much. So thank you so much for joining us, Dan. Pleasure having you here alongside me.
Oh gosh, I miss War Dollies.
We've just seen some news from the rest of the event. If you guys would like to hear it very quickly, the two KO players have drawn each other in round 3. So both Kharadron and Overlord armies that are here, they haven't been seen very much at TTS events. No idea why, just they haven't. And they've drawn each other against each other. Both Siflin, both got the spell in the bottle. Apparently, a quote coming from the tabletop is, Bjorn won. His comment was, he had the best endless spell, Vortex versus Demon Rift. Of course.
Oh.
Of course. It's the Vortex was the better one. But
yeah.
Right, so
yeah, it's spell in a bottle for those who don't know, it's an artifact that lets you put any endless spell inside of it, and everybody hates on that artifact because that it's apparently overpowered and it's cheap and blah blah blah. What they're really complaining about mostly is Vortex. Putting Vortex in the bottle is savage. So we've just heard from the table, the Grots managed to stab out a Marauder, and now we are seeing those pigs chop up the Keeper.
Oh, that Keeper is... I mean, this is the swing back, and there's a hero phase activation coming in, and there's also a combat phase activation potentially as well from those pigs. So that Keeper should go down. Let's talk about very quickly about the depravity points. So he's spending the CP now to give the Keeper +1 save here. So that's what we've just heard. We only spent, I think we spent 15, 12 or 13 depravity points. I know it's quite a broad range. Somewhere between 1 and 47 depravity points here.
Yeah.
Okay, so he generated 20, but he generated 14 more. So he sat on another 24 depravity points so far, which is a ton. It is an absolute ton. He's going to take another 11 depravity points if this Keeper goes down. So as much as this Sinesh Force looks very, very low on numbers, they've got another 20 bodies on the board, and they're going to have the ability to put more on the board soon.
Yeah.
So it's a very fine balance, actually. It's like a bit of a pendulum. You know, like they're like, oh, I've taken too many wounds, and they bang a load back, and then like if it ever gets pushed too far, that's where they fall out. Really happy with Games Workshop changing the depravity points around.
Oh yes, testify.
They made a big mistake early doors with it, but I do feel like it's in a much better place now, and it's got a nice give and take. There's an undulation to it. Some would say it's even like a tease, the way the depravity points work. You could say they even edge the depravity points.
It's risk to reward to get that final release, basically. Like if you want to get the models out there, you often have to overreach or reach out just to make certain that you're getting the damage you need to get enough depravity. Whereas previously, you barely had to risk anything, and you'd have a second and be summoning a Keeper as Secrets turn 2.
Yeah, it was a wild time. So someone's asked briefly if you can explain what each allegiance ability or each do. That shouldn't be a problem for us. No. Dan, you got the Iron Jaws, right?
Yeah, certainly do. Iron Jaws, basic, like to quickly break them down, they add 1 to their charge rolls because they're just full of hate, and unsurprisingly, orcs like combat. If they ever suffer any wounds, and they're more than, I think it's 9 inches from the enemy, the unit can move D6. So that's where a lot of Iron Jaws players will injure their own models in their like hero phase, in their whatever phase. Like they'll use spells or they use abilities to hurt them, so they keep moving. They got smashing and bashing, which is the biggest one that we're talking about here, which is where if you completely wipe out a unit in the combat phase, another unit can immediately pile in an attack instead of waiting. Then you've got mighty destroyers. It's a command point, but a unit that's wholly within 12 of a hero. If they're more than 12 inches away from any enemy models, they can move. If they're within charge range, they can charge, or if they're within 3, they can fight in the hero phase, which is probably what those 4 Gore Grunters are about to do. Now we've got Iron Suns going on here as well. So at the moment we don't see it, but in the first battle round they're -1 to hit. They've got a command ability that lets them pick a unit and get that Mighty Destroyer's ability for free. So there's 4 Gore Grunters are going to pile in an attack for absolute fray in the Iron Jaws turn. And they also got an extra command point at the start of the battle, which we don't need to worry too much about.
It's so important, these War Chanters, to double the damage, and their effectiveness on pigs is just outrageous.
Oh, yeah.
So outrageous. So they've buffed them up, and now that Keeper of Secrets that only took 4 wounds before is now going to be smote in a single turn. I think you'll find Nelson. Okay, so we're just seeing. So actually, he only took 2 in the previous battle round, is what we heard. Although I think it's still not being rolled out. They've rolled very fast. Well done, those guys. Took 2 in the previous round, healed them back, and now is only taking 4 from the Mighty Destroyers. He's down.
Oh my gosh!
So he's down to 8. So he's down to 8 wounds left. But that's actually pretty good because the heal has meant just more points in depravity. So Sinesh, just let you guys know very quickly what they have. They have exploding the 6s on melee attacks. So any melee attacks that are 6 generate 2 hits. Really important. They also can summon units here by generating depravity, which is the heroes, both of the Keepers of Secrets, as you can see here. If they take wounds, or if they do wounds, but not the last wound to a unit, then they generate a depravity. So if you've got a 2-wound model, they'll only generate 1 depravity from that as well. So the heroes really are these pools that they get hurt, they beat you up, and then they summon these depravity points, and then they're able to put units on the tabletop. And that's really what we're seeing here. They've also got the ability to make you strike last in combat. So yeah, loads there.
Ooh.
Gone.
We're seeing a commitment from some boys. Someone just asked what the fat in the middle is, and the fat middle. This event is basically this beautiful concept where it's the top tier tournament destroying armies are not to be taken. So it's only the hefty, girthy middle armies that we often see as the bridesmaids, but never the bride, which all the lists had to be from.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's which the armies that are gone, by the way, are Seraphon, Tzeentch, Fireslayers, Nurgle, Idoneth Deepkin, and of course Lumineth Realm Lords. So that's what we're seeing here. So into Iron Jaws turn 2, because that's where we're at. The score is 7-7 after a very aggressive scoring turn 1. So the Iron Jaws scored 7 points turn 1, is what they did, and then the Sinesh only scored 3 and then 4 in round 2. So the draw is currently even, and again, we've got a lot to play for here. Look at these guys. Now, what they're going to try and do is smash this Chaos Sorcerer Lord here, this unit of Ard Boys. And the reason they're going to try and do that is because, you're right, they're going to try and smash and bash him. Thank you, Table Boss. Appreciate that. Yeah.
You can't slip anything by a table boss, Rob.
No,
They're the bosses of the table.
They know they boss everyone. I know. Now, one of the reasons that this is so important is because we're playing Scorched Earth, he's going to be able to kill the hero, and if he kills the hero, he'll be able to burn the objective, which is really going to reduce Seb's ability to score points as well. These Marauders in the bottom left-hand corner still fighting through these grots, and so they've been scoring those points for a while, but they're going to try and take those out. I'm very surprised the Mega Boss, well, we haven't got to the movement phase yet, but I would expect to see the Mega Boss make some play. I would expect to see him move across the board somewhere, but this charge is going to be very, very important. Not forget the native +3 to charge.
+2 for their musician as well, right?
Yeah, 2 for the musician, 1 for being Iron Jaw. So they only need a 6-inch charge, and that's if they didn't get to roll an extra D6 in the movement phase. After they've teleported. So that's what they could be doing. And then we've also got the priority roll coming up as well. So they might be looking to hit into Archaea, or maybe even go after the Chaos Spawn. Loads to play for. We've got a good game on here, Dan.
Oh, yeah. I don't think the Ard Boys are going to go for Archaeon. I think their goal is going to be to try and pop the Sorcerer Lord and potentially the Spawn and burn these 2 objectives. Like string out, kill those 2, burn the 2 objectives there before Archaeon turns his 3-headed beast and his 1-headed but 3-eyed face towards them and chops the bejesus out of them, because I don't think they're going to have much of a chance if they try to pick him off.
Yeah, exactly. You are couldn't be righter. So there's 2 teleports now in this army, and that's an interesting little play, because this, as you can see here, this Fungal Cave Shaman, He has summoned the Scrap Scuttle's Arachna Cauldron, which gives him access to all the spell lore from that spell lore from the Gloomspite Gits, which means he's got his own little teleport as well. So he's now whipped across the board. He's going to score a bonus VP because he's a hero near this objective, which is going to be quite fun. And so he's going to be able to hold that objective and let the pigs go off and score as well. The War Chanter, not the War Chanter, the Weird Knob has come to hold this objective. And the Mega Boss still not 100% certain what his plan is. I still don't think...
He took a few steps forward. He was standing on a rock, which was very impressive, but obviously had to move like an inch or so down the rock or something before he could go off and chop things up. He's just, you know what? He's just taking his time. Some might say biding it. I personally think that maybe he needs to get stuck in. I would be definitely looking at chopping up the Marauders with him before they start to clear out your backfield.
Agreed. I absolutely agree with you there, Dan. Now, one of the other things that's been happening is this is not an isolated game. This is a game that is part of loads and loads of other games in this TTS event. About 50-ish people playing at this event, organised by Owen Jackson of the Hammer Time brand, is what it is. This is called the Fat Middle event. Now, there's some news from some of the other tables. Dan Arnold of the Troll Slayers, who played in the Super Series, finishes 2-1 with a Boulder Head Ogre More Tribes list, beating Alex Tubbs' Living City, which is a good result, really.
We like to see that for more tribes. Yeah,
I expect to see a lot of Dan Arnold over the next few years on the tabletops. I think he's an excellent player, really top chap, knows what he's doing, plays lists and keeps moving stuff around. So something to see from him soon. Another Team Wales member of the ATC Welsh team, an unofficial king of TTS, Mark Brooks, wins on table 10 with a funky Skaven list, which has got some weird... He's got a Varangard and a Chaos Sorcerer Lord unit, both as allies. Basically plug and play, has no interaction with the Skaven list at all, but it's just weird. And then beating the Boss Fist to finish 2-1 as well. So a lot going on there at these other events. There's still to find out how the Phoenix Guard list does up on table 1. Interested to see how Benjamin Sava's Bravery Bomb list goes into his... Well, not his, but a Hagnar Daughters of Cain list, made famous, I would argue, by him winning 4 tournaments back-to-back early in 2018. Lots and lots of good games going on here. It's very, very fun. Very, very fun.
It's kind of the beauty of Tabletop Simulator as well, is that you get to see lists that I think a lot of the time we wouldn't see someone put together on the table. Which is, and it's a beautiful, I'm largely not a huge fan of like when the community comps itself, because when that happens, you end up, or at least in my opinion, you end up like making excuses for the game. Whereas in this and also why should people have to build armies based around limiting factors? Whereas this I really like. You don't have to pay an absurd amount to build an army to fit the mold in this. I would love to see more like of these tabletop simulator events that have a specific theme to them. Maybe like every army must take a mega gargant. Every army must do this.
See, post-COVID, Dan, I really expect events of like 100, 200 people take a few years before we really start to see them again. I really do. Maybe not. I know Adepticon's got tickets on sale for 2022. Maybe. But I think small events are going to be something that we see very regularly in our smaller communities as we come out of lockdowns or whatever else, as long as we do these things safely. And I think that there's very much an opportunity to just run events like this at tournaments available for people, because people can be elective with them. If you run a load of events... If there are loads of events all around where lots of people are running 20-mans, 16-mans, whatever the situation, you can just have a variety of stuff. Yeah, you can mix it up, which I think is super fun. Make some themes. I think events like this are very, very exciting. And I'd be keen to see more events. Try and just mix it up a little bit in the future, because you do have the option to do that, right? So
get creative. It's awesome.
Yeah, there's this where you just ban them out. I feel like I cowered away from ever doing something like this, Dan, by just inventing the Super Series and letting teams ban their own stuff. Then it was never my fault.
That's not on you. That's all on them. It's like all those video games where they're like, no, you could play this perfectly innocently and not hurt a single fly. It was you that's the monster all along. There's a tournament over here that it became nicknamed the Tournament of Dragons, Attack X, because of the sheer amount of dragons that were taken. And I personally, like, I was chatting to the TO afterwards. I was like, mate, next time you should make it that every army has to have a behemoth in it. Like, make like that, just something absurd. Let's do it. I mean, some armies that's better than others, but I just think that there's this lovely element of creativity that we can start throwing in tournaments, especially using TTS. Big love for the way that Hammer Time's done this, because I think that this is just a great concept, and it makes it really interesting to watch as well. We're not talking about eels just something coming from the board and smashing things. It's given players a reason to get creative with their lists. It's super interesting. I'm really excited to see how it plays out.
That said though, both of the two lists that I'm seeing play here, and some of the lists that we see in the top tables, I would expect to be able to do well at events anyway. I really would. Seraphon, one of the missing armies obviously is Seraphon, and they are oppressively good. They are like they effectively make the rest of the game not a game. And eels also. Wow. Okay, so we're into the charge phase, Dan. Big. I want to keep having that chat, but just a big move. A 9-inch charge from the Ard Boys before you added the +3. So they've rolled a 12. That Chaos
They're going wherever they want.
They can go far. I definitely think that they want to go into that Chaos Sorcerer Lord, though. I don't think they want to just tag him. I think they want to kill him so they can burn the objective.
Exactly.
I'm not sure. He has measured it out. He might be trying to put 2 onto this objective and just string them out. He might not be looking for the full charge, ultimately.
Well, I think, personally, I think that he's realized there's nothing he can do about Archaon for the rest of this game. Even the Mega Boss, there's not enough close enough to do the damage to Archaon. So Archaon does what he wants, which is fine. He should do what he wants. He's powerful. But if you can score high enough that Archaon's going to have to spend his next turn dealing with these Ard Boys, and then the turn after that dealing with the 3 Gore Grunters over on the far left flank, you tie him up for the rest of the game doing busy work. You've basically given him a series of tasks and been like, this is what you have to do instead of what you want to do. And he's like, oh, yeah, okay, fine, mum. I'll do my chores before I have fun. And I think that's something these Ard Boys are definitely doing. They're giving Archaon chores instead of letting him go and play by chopping up the rest of the board the way that he wants to. He's just going to be keeping his house in order and neat and tidy instead. I will say there's one thing that both of our players here haven't utilized, which I find a little bit disappointing. And for those who haven't used TTS, is the flick function. Now, flick for Tabletop Simulator is this wonderful thing where you can click on something and then drag, and it power flicks it depending on the power of the drag. And every time I play a game, anytime something dies, I collect it and I flick it off the board with such fury that it stops existing. And I'm disappointed that we haven't seen it, because there's nothing more satisfying than a big unit and you hear this crunchy clicking as the models fly across the board. Now, flicking and throwing your models, obviously something we would never encourage in real games, which is why Tabletop Simulator lets us live out our darkest fantasies of destroying our models. Yeah, and it's disappointing we haven't seen it.
Yeah, I'm not sure I agree with that. Owen Jackson wants to tape measure at me, but that was a whole thing. It was Sylvaneth. So, wow. So we've just heard CP, another great play here, teleporting the Fungoid Cave Shaman over. So he's holding the objective. This unit of Gore Grunters who only rolled a 5-inch charge ended up turning it into an 11, which got them into the Chaos Spawn in the center and able to jump and bunny hop that objective. If they can take that objective, because there's no hero there, they could burn that. They could be on for a winner where they're going to burn the backfield 3 objectives. So after what looked like a great counter-charge, counter-punch, couple of turns from Sinesh, now the pressure is on. Seb's got to be sweaty, he's got to be hot, although that's probably not true. He's probably very comfortable in a very nice office chair, probably has like a chamomile tea next to him. It's probably the most relaxed he's ever been while up against it.
The thing is, though, we're still only in turn 2. We could see so much more in this game, but it's going to be tough to come back from how high I think the Orcs are going to... They're very cunning.
They're going to score well this turn. They're going to score well. If they want to, they could burn this objective. They could burn these. Now, Owen has, and as every T-Ho should, has FAQ'd this battle plan so that you only score 2 when you burn the objective.
Absolutely.
But we all agree with that. There isn't a dissenting voice on the internet about it. We're all in agreement. That's how we play this battle plan. That's how you play it at home. It's how you play it with your friends. It's how you play it at tournaments. It's just the one.
It's just not muck around. It's the way it's meant to be played.
We just don't do that. Some other news coming in from the rest of the tournament, though. Table 12, John Holcomb has gone 2-1 with his Drakfoot Bone Splitters with a win against Halloheart. Halloheart. Which is a great little victory there as well. 2-1 with those Drakfoot Bone Splitters very much interest me as an army to play.
Okay, wow. I think possibly when we were seeing the summoning earlier, for those looking at the table, I think we there was maybe a slightly missed opportunity in bringing in the 20 Demonettes there. That was an okay screen, but not thinking about the pace of those Gore Grunters. Bringing in 10 Demonettes where that we see that line of 20, and then using, I now correct me if I'm wrong, chat, I believe you can summon from the Fane. So I think bringing in 10 Demonettes there as a screen and 10 more Demonettes from the Fane to screen out or to back edge that objective just to give you more bodies on it would have provided a better chance of holding on to it rather than just the larger 20 ladies speed bump that we had there.
No one wants that. And they weren't a speed bump. They weren't even a speed bump. I ignored them like I ignore my messages, Dan.
They were a chicane. They were a chicane. Just went like around. It's just a little, how's your father? Did the dog leg, came back around the hairpin turn, and now they're going to smash it up.
So the summoning here, the sorcerer could potentially summon as well, Dan, but he's dead soon. And I think we have heard that the Keeper of Secrets did get off the Locust. So Keeper of Secrets,
but no command points. No command points. So the Keeper's not going in twice.
No command points to speak of at all. So this command point... so the Ardboys, first activation, Ardboys into the Sorcerer Lord, looking to take the Sorcerer Lord out. Look at this, 17 wound, end of the world, Archeon, the Grand Marshal of the Everchosen. The monster who will slay whole realms. Catacross once tried to invade the All Points in the Wrath of the Everchosen. This guy was busy. An entire army tried to beat up Catacross, and then eventually this guy came over and just beat him straight back to death.
And this is my favorite part of that story, killed Catacross so hard that even when he is like reborn and brought back and put into a new body, he still feels the pain of the wound that Archaon did to him when he killed him. That's how hard he killed him. He killed him in every future imaginable that Catacross will exist in. That is how strong the Grand Marshal of the Apocalypse is.
Now, so a good point raised here. A couple of things. Vince over in the chat, my good friend Vince. Hey, buddy. Hope you're well. Big love to you. A Happy New Year. Says you should have summoned a Herald, Dan. Don't forget you can do chain summoning with Sinesh. So you could have summoned a Herald and then done some more summoning for those horrors, for those Demonettes. Now, the activation here of the Chaos Sorcerer Lord going down is super important because that means you activate one of my favorite abilities, which is Smashing and Bashing, which, even when Sinesh are at their height, would defeat them. And look at that. These pigs, with all the damage, they took the Keeper of Secrets all the way out.
They were so inspired by the Ardboys on the other side of the board bravely beating up one lone naked sorcerer that they thought, hey, let's show them how it's really done. We're going to take down this gigantic death lady horse cow thing.
They did really well. They did really well. Also, any summoned units won't get a battlefield roll, so which means their battlefield roll won't apply to scoring in these objectives. So if you summon a battle line unit, or more importantly, a hero unit, which is what he's going to be looking to, he's up to 44 depravity war points. That's right. Go the Bacon Warriors. We're all a big fan of these guys.
And for those who don't know the wonderful lore for them as well, Iron Jaws use what's called pig iron, and it's called pig iron because I believe it is fed to their gore grunters and then collected from their leavings, their insides,
Really?
producing a powerful thing. I'm pretty confident I read that a while back, quite a while back, and then confirmed by Vanilla Sass in the chat. It may just be a long con that somebody's been tricking me on, and I had a fever dream, but I'm pretty confident that that's how they get their metal, from pig iron, from the iron of their pooped out gore grunter after leavings.
Well, so as you can see here, the spawn has also gone down to whatever horror Dan was talking about a moment ago. The gore grunters.
It's very soon that spawn is going to be more armor pooped out by the piggies.
Look at this! Look at this! Look, Slaanesh, the invaders. That's right. This lurid haze invaders army, used to rampaging through the mortal realms and taking what they want, have just been shown what a true invasion looks like. What you do is you have a load of bacon warriors and you smash and bash. And look at this absolute blinder of a game. He's burned 3 objectives. He's taken all of the board. He's still got all 4 of his, and he scored 10 VP in that turn. And that was after. That was the bottom of 2. That was the bottom of 2, Dan. That was his reaction.
Yeah, that's insane.
And Iron Jaws and the Iron Jaws have just won priority.
They were like, look, while we're showing you how a good invasion goes, let's just keep it rolling. And I kind of dig, like, for me, the story feeling here is like Slaanesh is coming in. They're like, yes, we're used to these depraved drives and we roll all over the countryside. And then they've come up against the orcs whose madness and insanity they just cannot possibly fathom. They're like, oh my gosh, these guys are messed up. And that's coming from us. Like they're just slinging holes through gaps that they didn't know existed, scuttling through things. Oh, and we've seen 3 burnt objectives. Look at that. Archaon's the only one. He's standing on his objective being like, I did my damn job. Where were you guys? And the answer is dead. His friends were all dead. War Machine saying the placement of those demonettes was a little bit odd. At the time, it actually wasn't. I just think that it was doubling down on 20 there wasn't the move. I think a chain summon might have been the good spot there. But oh my gosh.
I agree.
No.
Yeah, Archaon and the Grand Marshal of that single objective is the best comment I've seen all day.
Yeah.
Wait, what was that war chanter doing? Get out of here! This is some absolute scenes. So he's hand of gorked over this war chanter in the hero phase.
You know how I just said to you? I just said that those Ard boys absolutely don't want to go up against Archaon. He's all buffed up. He's full of hate, and they got no chance against him. They were just making chores for him to do. I feel like spiritually, Orkman felt that and was like, "Buggier, I'm going to show you what these Ard boys can do, and I'll." Is using a command point to charge them in the hero phase into the Grand Marshal of the Apocalypse. He's saying to him, you know what, that objective you're holding, you're not even going to hold it into my movement phase. That's how much of a flex we're seeing right now.
Well, because the big play is, get ready for the big play. So he gets to charge in the charge phase, right? The teleport over, he spends a CP. This is so brilliant. Spends a CP to do a charge. And look at this. What you're going to see him then do in the movement phase is run away onto this objective. Now, he's not going to be able to burn it, but he is going to be able to hold it, yeah, and outscore Archaon, the Grand Marshal of the one objective. Which is just... And these demonettes, they're not long for this world. They're about to take a complete shoe-in from a load of the sausage tornadoes. The sausage roll warriors are going to crush them.
We're going to see...
Can we talk about this guy? Can we talk about this mega boss, Dan? Who's done
Captain Impotent?
Yeah, he's done nothing. He's just been he actually is so unawed by Archaon. He's had his back to him the entire game.
He's still looking at his rock. Now, for those who didn't know, he started standing on that rock that he's looking directly at. If you zoom back there a little bit, Rob,
does love that
you can
rock,
see it's his pet rock. He started standing on it. He moved forward, and now I feel like he's staring back at it, like wistfully, being like, "Ah, do you remember the rock times?"
love
So he
rock.
probably he wants to go back. He's looking at it and just thinking like, if only that we wouldn't get DMCA struck, we put some kind of wonderful love music on there for Orc and Rock. Orc love rock, rock love Orc.
I think he's more concerned that the Weird Knob Shaman might get on his rock, and he's jealous.
Yeah, he's very competitive. Yeah, he loves rock. I feel that, I mean, if he wanted to be tactical, I would have felt that the Mega Boss would have walked slightly to the right to deal with the Marauders, but instead he walked forward, still staring at his
Can we
rock.
talk about this as well? The inclusion in this Iron Jaws army, if you guys want to type ! list for the list, of 20 shooter grots. Also, big plays coming in, big plays coming in from this one Fungoid Cave Shaman, into the Arachna Cauldron. Yeah, 20 shooters who haven't shot yet even, and they've been up against Marauders since turn 1, and now they're not winning, but they haven't lost. Now that's an important thing.
They're still standing there being like, come and get me bloody net.
They're still there.
Do you want a piece of this net? Nah, you don't want a piece of this net. Did the Marauders not... Oh, no, never mind. Sorry, we've had I was like, why aren't they in combat? We've had an Iron Jaw double turn, which is why we haven't seen that. Yeah, I think we're in for a little bit of unpleasantness by the looks of things here. The Scrap Scuttle Arachna Cauldron, I'm guessing 8 wounds against the Fungoid Cave Shaman by the looks of things there, because so summoning the Cauldron is wonderful for those who don't know. However, you have to feed it mortal wounds every turn to keep it around, which is why usually it'll stand next to some grots or something you want to wound. In this case, it's been used to move units up. By giving them bonus movement using the Mad as Hell rule. But it means that if the caster is left without any friends, it starts to eat away at him, which is what that Cauldron has done.
Wait, so one of the things that I think might be going on, Dan, is are we seeing this Mega Boss... I thought we were going to see it eventually going after Archeon.
Rob, he's got a rock to think about. What are you talking about? You don't go up. He's like, hey, but now he's playing coy. He's playing coy. Like, he doesn't want to go straight back to the rock because he doesn't want the rock to know how much he's got feelings. Like, he's caught feelings pretty hard. So he's just kind of, he's wandering around. He's going via the bar, making awkward eye contact and being like, hey, Rock, I know we haven't spoken in a few minutes, but what are you up to? He's texting someone else to try and make it look like he's got more friends. But realistically, he'll be back on the rock by the end of the battle.
He will. And as pointed out by Table Boss, the rock does actually have a face. So maybe he would weirdly fall in love with the rock face. It's just too much.
The rock face.
So just to catch everyone up where we're at in this game, we're at the beginning of turn 3. And the score is correct. It's 17-7 to the Orcs. They've done really well. The first turn was given away by Slaanesh to the Orcs. And what we saw in that first turn is we saw a unit of 10 brutes teleported over here, charge into a unit of Chaos Warriors to take them out. 2 units of 3 pigs charge up here, take out 3 warriors, move into the center, and take out 20 marauders that were on this line. The counterplay that we saw come out of Slaanesh was there was a Keeper of Secrets that came in here, wiped out 3 Gore Grunters, and Archeon went over. It took him a couple of turns, but he took out all 10 of those Uruk brutes. Then, in the double turn that we saw, so priority roll went against the Slaanesh, we saw the Keeper of Secrets womp over into the back left objective here, where 6 Gore Grunters were, pile in and attack twice, only unfortunately be able to take out 2 of those Gore Grunters, which was pretty massive, because those Gore Grunters then, both in hero and combat phase, able to take that out. And then there were some massive plays. This unit of 3 pigs that had been up here, we saw the Fungoid Cave Shaman teleport himself over here, use a command point to allow that unit who moved over here to get a 11-inch charge into a Chaos Spawn and take that objective, which was pretty huge. And then we saw a unit of 10 brutes, which you can now see strung out here, charge into a Chaos Sorcerer Lord, take out the Chaos Sorcerer Lord, which activated Smashing and Bashing, allowing this unit of pigs to charge into the Keeper of Secrets, take it out. And then that's where we're at right now. Priority roll into turn 3. Archeon's on 17 wounds. There's a unit of Marauders who also teleported turn 1 into a unit of Grots. I thought those Grots were not long for this world. Turns out I was wrong, and it's a fight that's lasting for basically all day.
They haven't even had their nets in, which is what, like, let's be honest, the Grots haven't even needed to throw their nets. A little bit of scandal for those who are following along with Rockgate. The Weird Knob Shaman has moved quite close to the rock. Just in case anyone's interested in that element, we got a little development there. So yeah, Archaon. The other thing that we're seeing right now is between the placement of the War Chanter and the Ard Boys is making sure Archaon can't summon. Doesn't have a really like any massive room to summon anything, because those 44 depravity points, while super fun, it kind of useless if you don't have a bubble around your hero and 9 inches away from the enemy to summon it. And by the looks of things, unless Archaon does a big move with a run and lands in the mid board, doesn't have much room to bring anything on.
No, absolutely right. But he is sat on a ton of depravity, 44 depravity points there. No, so I'm just gonna let you know what's happening at the rest of the event, Dan. There's loads of stuff kicking off.
Oh yeah, I'm very. There's one table in particular I'd love to hear about. I don't know if you have it for me, but I'll feed my 2021.
I'll go through right now. Table 5 was Inferno Storms. He went 3-0 with his Archaon Sinesh. So there's been 2 Lurid Haze Archaon Sinesh lists at this event. And one of them has won his 3rd game in a row, beating the 1-drop shootcast list. Now, that's an important point to note, because Archaon is so good at the moment into the counter meta because of his reroll 6s ability. Any 6s to hit reroll, and a lot of abilities that we're seeing proccing on 6s to hit. So really, really good. And then Table 8, Arthur went a 2-1 with his OBR Catacross list, but most importantly with those 12 Immortis Guard, which I love that list. Super
wicked.
Weird. I think I've seen him talking about it in the chat after a couple of his games. He says he loves the list. He just felt like his first game, it just didn't go his way. And that beat a Marathi and friends in another Hagnar list as well. So
not bad. Good play.
Yeah, a couple of those Hagnar lists, not one. And then on table 1, making it a clean sweep of pure 60 points. So all secondaries and victories. Philip Kartev, the Russian ETC player, again, like the winter in Russia, proving that it is almost impossible to stop Phoenix Guard. They just do not stop. So he has got a Hammerhall list with tons of Phoenix Guard, a Flamespire Phoenix and a Frostheart Phoenix. It's just offensive. One of the things I think him and Darren actually played maybe last year. Him and Darren played a game on the tabletop. I think he was using Change Host, Philip was, and Darren ended up taking out that list with a pure Phoenix Guard spam list as well. So it's interesting watching Philip pick that list back up after having played against it and lost to it 6 months or so ago. Still a super viable list if you can ever be bothered to build that many Phoenix Guard.
Put it together. So on the table at the moment, we're into the Slanesh turn, and we just saw what I believe is the move that we're going to see Archaon go for, a measure of Archaon moving over those Ard Boys, and then what the 9-inch bubble would look like to try and potentially summon. And I think that at this point in time, that's pretty much all that that Slanesh can do to try and get back in this game. However, at 21-7, mid-turn 3, it's a tough call. However, I was surprised by the cunning brutality of the Orcs. I know that some people in the chat were saying they looked more brutal than cunning. To me, this has been much more cunning than brutal, each to their own. And so maybe we'll see some cunning depravity use to pull Slanesh back into a competitive spot, though it'll be a tall order. And as suggested in the chat, the Rock's name should definitely be Dwayne. So just to keep everyone in the good spot. Now, I take it from that, for those who joined us late, one of the tables that is in the running for the top spot and could potentially take it out features Daughters of Cain Hagnar, not particularly surprising, but Dreadwood Sylvaneth. And I take it we have no updates on that one yet, because I really... Oh, that's just, it's tickling me. I really want to know, because for me, starting off my year with Sylvaneth being on the books would be freaking spectacular. So we'll get some updates on that, I'm sure, when we have updates to have, or if things go bad for Sylvaneth, I just never want to know. Buggier, stay in 2020. Sylvaneth poor showings. Only
I mean,
good
even
showings in
2-1,
2021.
even a 2-1 showing for
That's
Sylvaneth
pretty awesome.
will be great. And a lot of that's to do with the fact that we creamed off some of that like top crop of armies. Some of those are like some pretty. You guys, if you guys haven't gone on Twitter recently, there is a poll, a questionnaire being done by Mr. Vince Ventrella. If you go on his Twitter, and you can fill in a questionnaire about NPE. If you guys want to do that. And some of those top armies do definitely produce that. So Archeon has just healed 3 wounds, I think I've heard. So he's back up to the full 20 wounds. And now we might see some chain summoning, Dan. We might see some chain
I think that's exactly
summoning.
what we're going to see.
We've got a lot of depravity here.
To be honest, even a keeper now into a double turn would potentially be a pretty good place to be. Oh, I think that's exactly what we're about to see, given that the old keeper's being pulled over.
Look at that! How many points
baby.
is a keeper of secrets now?
30 something, I believe, unless I missed my guess. 36, 38. I'm sure someone in the chat knows that one for me. But yeah, like I said, we could see some cunning play. This has actually been for 2 armies that you would often see teased about just running at each other and smashing their heads against a wall. We're seeing some cunning play.
There we go. I'm happy about that. I'm happy it's 45. I think it used to be 3. Based on what I used to experience on the.
Oh, all right. I remember. I think the first time I played against Slaanesh with their depravity, my opponent summoned 2 keepers during the game, while still having the 2 keepers that they started with on the board. I was like, why? Why do I? First of all, why do you own 4 keepers of secrets? And one of them was just legs because he was like, because this just got good. And I haven't finished building all my keepers yet. I was like, yeah, fair enough.
Well, so the Marauders here have made a 10-inch charge, and they're able to cap that objective. They're going to be looking to clear these grots out finally and grab these 2. So I think what we're seeing is an attempt to just consolidate this flank. If he's able to get another turn, we could potentially see the bringing over of Archeon into the center. Might get to see some more summoning, although he's got no depravity left to take these bottom objectives. Although we might then get to see the mega boss fight. That's right. If he can stop loving his rock and instead rock Archeon's world, yeah, we might get the fight of the century. That's what we might see. But we're waiting. That's all I want. We are waiting for it to happen, but we don't know if it will, is the real question. I mean, it does look like it's strongly in the favor of the Iron Jaws. However, we talked about this at the beginning of the game, Dan. Ultimately, the Iron Jaws are going to lose models over time, and Slaanesh can just keep bringing them on. So there becomes like a moment, a crescendo, really, of like where exactly that's going to fall apart, right?
Yeah, and look, I think the other thing we need to know is that for a lot of armies, you hit this point in turn 3, and with the amount of damage the Iron Jaws have done, you'd be like, cool, it's all over bar the shouting. But with the ability to bring models back on, we're bottom end of turn 3, which means there's 2 more turns to go. The Iron Jaws, having burnt those 3 objectives, yes, they've scored high, but that's 3 objectives that if they hadn't burnt them that turn, they would be forcing Archeon and the Keeper to clear out that backfield. At this point in time, they don't need to worry about it. There's no points to be scored there. It's all about the Iron Jaws objectives, which only Slaanesh can burn. So they've got a relatively easy focus to looking at, and will be generating some more depravity from the death of these Iron Jaws.
So we're just hearing from the tabletop in the charge phase. The Marauders have made their charge, but the Keeper of Secrets failed its charge, and then Archeon has. So I have just kicked off a poll in the chat if anyone would like to be a part of that poll. It is who is going to win this fight. Is it going to be Archeon of the single objective, of course, or is it going to be the rock-loving mega boss? Those are the 2 options available for everyone there to see, and you guys can vote with channel points and all sorts of things, which is quite fun. So there you go. Right. Anyway, So the Marauders are fighting first, and Archeon failed his Locust. Are we hearing that table boss?
Ooh.
Oh,
Ooh.
we got it off on the hard boys. Okay, that's very interesting. So that means that Marauders are going to be able to attack first, clear out these grots. Maybe finally, Dan. It's taken a long time for this fight to happen.
They've taken so long. Oh gosh, come on, buddy. You got this. I just want the Marauders to finally kill like their own number in grots.
Can Archeon put the Mega Boss in the sword? Oh, he can. Now, unlike the Zinch version of this that we had to watch last time, Dan, this Archeon
doesn't get to auto 6.
He doesn't get to auto 6, but it could happen. And to be honest, the Mega Boss is so distracted by that rock, we just don't know.
Yeah.
What's going to happen?
It could be anything.
I'll tell you what, this poll is close. It's getting very, very close.
Really?
Yeah, it's 55-45. Who knew? A lot of people voting for Archeon of the single objective.
Well, I think the thing is, okay, everybody loves an underdog, but given summoning, given all of that jazz, they're not out. And with those Marauders, again, this is where the Mega Boss, if the Mega Boss had just gone off to the right to put those Marauders to the axe, this game, I wouldn't feel like there is still a glimmer of sunlight for Chaos. But because we do still have them, there's just that possibility. And yeah, I can't stop believing. Can't stop believing that it might happen.
So the Marauders have killed 6 grots. Is that all of the grots? Or are there still grots alive? How are there still 2 left?
However, I'm pretty confident that where the general is the Mega Boss, who is almost certainly more than 18 inches away from those grots. So I'm pretty confident we'll see them get the hell out of Dodge thanks to Battle Shock.
Yeah. I think I agree with you. I think we might well see those grots finally go down. Those Marauders, the terror of the mortal realms, 20 of them doing some solid work. Oh, they're all dead. Apparently, they're all dead. So we thought one of them was hiding in a bush like me on a Saturday night out, but apparently no. They're all gone.
Okay, they're finally dead.
Yeah, they are finally dead. The poll is kicking off. Looks like Rotlov and Mega Boss is making it back in a fight between him and Archeon.
Oh wow, yeah, it's close. Gosh, it's a close poll.
Yeah. So look at this. Archeon now doesn't have reroll saves. He doesn't have reroll to hit and wound because the Chaos Sorcerer Lord is dead. That's such a massive force multiplier in the Chaos Sorcerer Lord. Look at this War Chanter. He just teleported. He's like, all right, I landed. Yeah.
I'm here. Let's hit stuff with me sticks.
I was over by the rock, but the boss said, stop looking at me rocks. I thought, I'll get out of Dodge. So I told Magic Man to teleport me to the other side. Here I am.
And then turns out Magic Man was only interested in the rock for himself. Look at how close he is to that rock.
He is way too close to that rock. Wow, okay, so Archeon's killed 7 Arboys, which is 14 wounds, but it's also 7 depravity in that list as well. So
not quite enough to summon anything.
Yeah, at all. I don't lose damage. I'm sad. I'm sad with you too. Like, where did all the grots go? So some other news. Table 4. Silver Death update. Dan, this is for you. Very tight game, but Math Mallow is like a young lady on a Saturday night, all dolled up and with nowhere to go. Welcome to COVID times.
That doesn't sound great. Because every Saturday night I put on all of my mascara, my fake lashes, heels and fishnets, and I can never go outside because it's raining and also the Coco Vovo.
Same, which is why
What's
we
the deal?
Skype each other. He sat on 5 CP and with no space to teleport to, sad face, because he's playing Dreadwood. He's got those 2 units of 6 Kurnoth Hunters. He wants to teleport somewhere on the board, but unfortunately not able to do so. Big shout out to Inferno Storms in the chat, who has gone 3-0 at the event, so well done to you. Really happy to see you. But it's looking close for the Sylvaneth game. 2-1 is still going to be good, Dan. Let's not get too sad about it.
Look, I'm going to be very excited, but look, I love a fairy tale finish. If I'm dressed like a princess, it's because I want to believe in being a princess. And Inferno Storm would like me to send a picture. You got to pay for that. I'm sorry.
Okay, so only 6 of these Ard Boys are dead now from this unit, but they're much reduced. However, are they within 6 of the War Chamber? No, they're not. So they are going to take a battle shock test. And if they're in range of Archeon's -2, they are going to be -2 to that check as well. So we could see the rest of that Hardboy unit run away. This is, by the way, the beginning of turn 3. No, end of turn 3. So we're going to see some scores on the board for Snesh. So they're going to come back from that 17-7, which is where they currently are at. But go on, please keep going.
I was just quickly going to point out, Rob, as has been pointed out in the chat, I think we possibly need to stop the count and in the vote that you have going on, because very much like in the American election, it's clearly rigged, obviously rigged, because 195 people have voted out of 109 people watching. It's now at almost 200 votes, over 200 votes of 109 people watching. So I feel like there's a lot of those dead grots and demonettes are voting.
Whoa! So just to catch you up on the scores, 3 points there. 3 points, by the way. You could just pay, Dan. You could just pay extra. I think that's what they've done. It's pay to win.
I
very much like every election. That's what oligarchies are. So 3 extra VPs scored here for Sinesh. We're going into the priority role. Problem is, though, Dan, we really needed Sinesh to get that to bring us in for a game, but they didn't. They didn't. Ironjaws rolled a 6, Sinesh rolled a 1, which I know that the Sinesh player won't even mind because it's deliciously brave. That points difference. But that is a strong play. So it looks like the Sausage Tornado is in for another round. But what can they even do now? They've teleported all of their. Well, actually, they've got some plays, but really they've just got it. They're going to rock up and get some more points. Are we going to see the Mega Boss go back to his rock? Are we going to see the Mega Boss go into the Marauders? The pigs are here, but they're too far away from Archeon and the Keeper. So really, what are they going to do? Are they going to run away, try and consolidate? There's lots of options.
Teleport and charge?
Huh?
They could. Okay, hear me out, right? The cauldron hurts these pigs. They're the 4 unit of pigs, so they're getting a D6 move. Then they can Mighty Destroyers to get for free because one of them is the unit boss. So then they get another move. Those 4 could be across the board relatively quickly. We could have 7 pigs into Archaon and see if the Grand Marshal of that one objective could be smashed. What? So the cauldron, instead of hurting the Gore Grunters to give them some more move, went onto the Fungoid. It does D3 damage. He had 3 wounds left. It did 3, but thankfully, thanks to that DPR, he survived. What? Why? Why wouldn't you put it on the Gore Grunters? Give him Mighty Destroyers. Give him Mad as Hell. Get him across there and show. The boss.
So there's only 2 wounds left on one of the Gore Grunters, so you would end up losing a Gore Grunter. I think is the reason that we've seen that happen. But no, I hear you absolutely. Dan,
I just want to see the Grand Marshal of that one
about
objective.
The vote before, but it has kind of accelerated. There are now about 350 votes cast.
So every person is 3.5 people, basically, at this point in time. Great.
It's looking very, very close. There's a very big points lead, as you guys can see, 21-10 into Ironjaw's turn 4. They've got the priority role. So there's loads of momentum on their side. A lot of us, if you've just joined us, very excited about this Mega Boss and whether or not he's actually in love with a rock. And whether or not he ever fancies fighting Archeon. Archeon summoned the Keeper of Secrets after he lost his first one. He was very disgruntled that one of them ran away and went off to murder some pigs. He was just hungry for ham, and then it turned out that was more than he could chew. So he died, and then he summoned himself another one back. But I'm not really sure where he's going to go with it. All of the objectives at the top have been burnt, other than this last one for Sinesh. And so now there's lots of room on the board, but not a lot of options, I don't think, Dan. With only 2 turns left. This is the penultimate turn for the Ironjaws to make sure they consolidate their points lead. Sinesh have got 2 turns in the bag as well. And they've got to bring back a lot of points, which I don't really see happening. But I think they're going to go for it.
Rob, the vote. The vote has ended, Rob, at 50% to 50% and winning by 2 votes. So 193 went to one, 191 went to the other. The rock-loving Mega Boss has been decided as the winner of this battle by the chat.
Well done, chat. I respect that massively. You guys are brilliant. It's good to see that that poll taking your hearts and minds. The other thing to say, the Wargaming Dad was instrumental in that vote. Spending over 33,000 channel points to swing the vote there. So well done. Now, another thing that's happened, you guys don't remember earlier on in the game, the Shaman, in a very excellent tactical play, he teleported this a War Chanter across the board, specifically across the board, so that he could buff up the unit of Ardboys, make them charge in the hero phase, meaning they charged onto into Archeon and then ran away onto the objective, capping them another point. It was an excellent play. But a lot of us think narratively one of the reasons he may well have done it is because he was getting too close to the Mega Boss's rock. And we're pretty certain the Weird Knob Shaman wants to take the rock off the Mega Boss. But it turns out the War Chanter just went and got himself his own rock, Dan, at the top of the board. He's loving life. Look at this.
And we've seen down here, the Mega Boss has moved back towards his rock, and it looks like the Weird Knob Shaman is moving away from that rock. So clearly, everybody's very excited about the relative features and formations they can be standing on this evening.
Yeah, it's just... the Mega Boss going back. Some more results from the tabletop. It turns the Stuart's Iron Guts, pretty much Stuart's list at this point. Iron Guts in a Tyrant Guard. If you guys want to type !event in the chat, you'll be able to see the tabletop TO link, where you'll be able to go and look at all of these lists that we're talking about so far. It's gone 2-1 with a solid 19-1 against Nicholas's Nagash Staliarch's list, which we saw play in the previous game as well, which I think is interesting. And then Mark Wilson of Blood Tithe Team Tournament, wonderful guy, one of the people that helped write the Super Series pack with me, went 2-1 with his 9 times Varangard Knights in the Empty Throne list. So that's one unit of 9 Varangard, Dan. 45
rocking around the board.
Wounds with a 3-up save. That's a hero.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
Wow. So I just on the board, just a quick update from what we're seeing is that what was a bacon tornado, I think is now just a meaty sigh, because the grunters have all moved away from putting any hate on the Grand Marshal of that one objective and the Keeper of Secrets. They've all buggered off down to the corner, so it looks like they're not quite as intense. The Mega Boss has rolled a big 11 and is charging the Marauders, abandoning the rock and doing what I thought he probably should have done several turns ago, but that's fine. Better late than never.
Agreed. I don't know why he stayed around that long, but he was. We did talk about this at the start, right? We did talk about Orkman's. We talked about Orkman's kind of early play where he split Archeon out from the center, which was actually really, really solid. Ultimately, by that early teleport, Archeon hasn't moved from where Orkman put him 3 turns ago.
Yeah.
He's been there the whole game, basically. He started out in the center of the board, near the Fane, and now that unit of 10 Brutes has basically put Archeon there for the whole game, which is fascinating. We have seen the Fungoid teleport across the board, Dan, and then he's made a charge into the Marauders.
Amazing.
As has the Mega Boss into the Marauders.
Well, he would have gotten to teleport, and then would he be affected by Mad as Hell? No, he wouldn't. He would just need a big roll. No.
He would get +1. He'd get +1.
Yeah.
Because he's an Iron Jaw. So those Marauders are going to take a bit of a shoe-in here, ultimately. And then the Fungoid is also in the mix as well for some.
He's there. Like, let's not talk about it. Well, no, I reckon the reason he's there is to stop, if the Marauders don't die, to stop them burning that objective. That's why he's come across.
He has been everywhere. He's been here, and then he was later on. He was over on this left-hand corner, and now he's back. Those those pigs really are back to where they started the game, which is pretty hilarious. Which is really fun. In fact, the only person who's completely out of whack now is this one war chant who just got himself a rock.
He's like, bug here, I got this rock, it's my rock.
Yeah.
He's got a rock, it's near the Fane, so he's clearly just staring at it, being like, this weird there.
So Mega Boss there, killing 10 Marauders in close combat, doing a pretty solid job. It's amazing watching 1,100 points of like Archeon and Keeper's Secret, watching a fight between basically naked idiots in these Marauders versus a spider wizard that's made of mushroom and a rock-loving orc idiot.
Yeah. Who's just been kind of wandering around. I love that there's this massive battle going on, right? Like objectives being burnt, a world ender on the other side of the board, and this orc is just kind of like dragged his toes, just kind of wandered forward and then wandered back, and then was like, okay, these guys are pretty much done. I'm going to go mess them up now. And the rest of the Marauders have fled.
Of course they did. Scary because
they saw what he'd been doing to the rock. They were like, wait, what's going on with that rock over there? He's like, get away from the rock. And they're like, don't look at my rock. And they're like, okay. Oh God. No, I don't want to. Definitely want nothing to do with the rock.
That wouldn't scare me. It'd be this man who's half a head is a mushroom, and then behind him is a cauldron, made of spider legs. Yeah, I'd be like, I'm out. I'm not having this. This is too much for me. I didn't mind fighting little grots, but I'm not fighting this. What an incredible model these two models are. Like, when you look at them up close.
Like zoomed in right now, what I wanted to say is that how can we credit to how good the heavy metal painting team is that these are scanned 3D renders and they still look spectacular. Like, look at the scratching, like the weathering on the cauldron. It's done so well. You can still see the cauldron's weathered. Look at the back of this clown. Anyway, I just a credit to how spectacular they are at painting. That's how good it looks with a scanned 3D render.
So we're just hearing right now that they use the 3D renders to create a photogrammetry, which I didn't know. It sounds like the tetragrammaton.
Grammaton. So the gun carter from the not Matrix film that was actually really badass. I dug it pretty hard.
Can we quickly talk about potentially the best joke? So Archeon's moved, as you can see. He's moved here. We did talk about this grot moving around. He's moved all around the board, Dan. Yeah, he's just charged around. He's teleported there. And maybe the best joke in all of Warhammer has just been said. He must be called Phileas Grot, around the board in 80 moves. We can all go home. We can all go home.
Turn the stream off. Everyone get some sleep. We're done. That's great. I'm a little bit sad because I feel like Archaon's about to come over here and mess up the rock-loving Mega Boss and take his rock, and maybe that's just what 2021 is going to be.
That's all Seb's now.
Is the year that we don't get the happy ending of the orc and his rock.
Well, it's all to play for. I mean, how many wounds does Archeon? So Archeon's got 17 wounds. Yeah, the Mega Boss. Don't forget, he's ignoring Rend 1 or 1 Rend.
He's reducing Rend by 1, I
think.
He's
reducing Rend by 1. So the big question is I mean, we've had the vote, so things should work out, Dan. Ultimately.
No, but it was just for his army, though, not for him. Will our Romeo and Juliet of the mortal realms get to stay together? That is the question that we need to ask ourselves.
Oh well, no problem. I'll start a prediction in the chat. Not an issue at all. So this is the prediction. I'm going to do it right now. Name the prediction.
Archaon's coming between him and his rock. Look at that. This is the worst thing that's ever happened.
Mega Boss versus Archeon. And then you guys can vote in the chat whether or not it's going to be the Mega Boss. This is the prediction now, or the. This is turn 4, isn't it?
I believe we're in turn 4.
Okay. So we're actually in turn 5. Let me just update the scores.
Which is why Archaon got to make that little second move, and looks like he's trying to summon. He ain't giving up.
He's never giving up. Never give up. Never
like
give up.
S Club 7, bringing it all back to you. Orc Orc in the sword. Uh, there's the chat has started claiming that they want to see the orc in the sword.
The orc, it can't be in the sword. Come on. Pork in the sword. No. Oh, okay. So, what did we see summoned? What did we see? We didn't see much summoned. The charge is off. Oh, okay. All right. That's not good then. This is sad.
Pork in the sword.
Look,
Yeah, this is
Archeon's
horrifying.
in. We've got the fight of the century, Dan. We've got the fight of the century. The Mega Boss versus Archeon.
Archeon the love rat versus our wistful lover, the pork boss. Not the best phrase there.
Is this a sword attack? So we watching the sword attacks right now, Table Boss. Oh, so we got 3 hits. Two of these. Wait. He's got to roll them. Or has he rolled them?
Is that them?
Is that 2 hits or the 2 wounds? Oh, okay, but it's about... Is this the sword?
That was the sword, but it didn't put the pork in the sword.
Oh, heartbreak. Didn't put the pork in the sword. He's fine. I mean, he's probably not fine. He's only got 2 wounds left. There's still a lot of other attacks to go. But it's looking pretty rough. Uh-oh. So, yeah, he's taken 6 wounds so far from this. I know you guys are heartbroken right now that we might see the rock-loving Mega Boss go.
Versus the love rat Archeon. He destroyed a world. It wasn't enough. Now he needs to destroy this relationship.
Destroy our world, our 2020. Yeah. This is what he's taken away from us. Come on. Don't do this to us, Archeon. Save a Mega Boss. You can do it. I believe in you. That's a lot of saves. There's a lot of saves. Come on.
I mean, he's...
Oh, yeah, there's no. Ones there. Oh,
command
no.
point. Reroll ones. Command point. He's gone. He's gone.
Oh, look, Archeon's stolen his rock. If anything, he's lost the game, but he's won the war of the rock.
He's won the... Well, but look at the battle for the other rock is also taking place, and I don't feel great about that war chanter either.
No, I don't. I forgot this fight as well. Come on, you need to just turn around and respect who you're fighting.
The question that we need to ask, which is really big, is that if that Mega Boss had still been on his rock and had the ability of cover, so an extra +1 to his save, would he still be here today? If he hadn't abandoned his love, would he still be on the rock?
All the rocks belong to Sinesh, and all the victory points belong.
All your rock belong to us.
Oh, this is what a dramatic twist.
How awful.
Oh no, that was sad.
Yeah, devastating.
Maybe, and like we see in the chat, I mean, it's a clear victory now. 18 points gone to Sinesh and the auxiliary. So it is a victory, Dan. We'll jump back to us. It is a victory. Big victory for Sinesh. They've done a blinder. Welcome back, everyone. Well, whew, there's highs and lows there, Dan. Highs and lows.
Big one. Oh, yeah. I've shrunk. I've shrunk with excitement there. That was an intense game. I won't lie. There was a real strong arm wrestle from turn 1 into turn 3, and then we just saw that brutal cunning get away, and then the unstoppable avalanche of green energy just getting too far ahead for Slaanesh to catch up.
Far too far. It was but some brilliant plays. Watching the Orcs drag Archeon and Sinesh out of place. Basically, pincer moving in some sort of hilarious fashion to drag those 2 key pieces, those 2 key threats across the board into different places. And then Archeon just being stuck there. I mean, that -1 to hit can't be understated as well, because we did see one Gore Grunter, not one Gore Grunter, sorry. We saw what? So we saw one what are they called? Brute run away, from that block of 10 in the top right, because he rolled a 1 on his battle shock test, which leaving 5 more, 6 more maybe, no, 5 more on the objective.
5 more.
But he could have easily rolled a 6, and that whole game would have changed off that battle shock test.
That if those brutes had been gone, if Archaon had done a little bit more damage, if so many things had happened there. Archaon was tied up on that objective all game, but if he'd have been free to go off and cause havoc wherever he liked in Slaanesh's turn 2, this would have been insanely different. Or the fact that the keeper, when it was at a -1 to hit in turn 1, killed three grunters, 3 pig tornadoes quite comfortably, only missing out on doing them in 1 round of combat by 1 damage, and then to only kill 2 pigs in the entire 2 rounds of combat in turn 2. That just real rough luck there, but also being put in the position where it had to move out of its own kind of defensive space to do that. Just really interesting. It was a really good play. Personally, I would have played more defensive as Slaanesh, and that's probably would have lost me the game as well, because I'm a traditional Dwarden player, as much as I may have shaved off my beard and people can give me all of the hate about playing elves. I do like to play a little bit more toolboxy and defensively, and I think that's where I would have gone in that one.
It was super aggro game. It was so interesting watching that -1 to hit be so important for that Iron Suns. So strong that the big unit 6, when they're buffed up, they can do horrific damage as well. Those pigs are just so strong when they do the work. The brutes almost were just throwaway. But big shout out has got to go to those 2 teleports being in the list, being able to run around and produce extra effects, being able to teleport the War Chanter, being able to teleport the Grot Shaman as well, so he can start giving out command abilities wherever he needs to put them, which I think is a big deal. But ultimately, a cracking game that we got to see. And maybe, Dan, maybe what we learned is that Warhammer is all about the rocks we've met along the way.
Yeah, it's not about the rock we end up with. It's about the rock that we journeyed with. And I think that it was meant to be. Sometimes you end up with a large geomantic. I don't know what's the word for rock. What's the technical sciencey word? Anyway, whichever way it goes. Sometimes you get the rock, and sometimes the rock gets you. And it sounds like Dwayne gave the orc the people's elbow in the end, which is just a little just throw that out there for those who understand the reference. Geological, thank you, MJ Pegasus. That's the word I couldn't achieve this early in the morning on such little sleep. Now we do have, Rob, we've got an update that I wanted, but turns out I didn't want. The dream was there, and it's and 2021 there's a glimmer, and that glimmer was Sylvaneth. The glimmer was Sylvaneth possibly going 3-0. Now we do have the update that they didn't manage to get it. They couldn't get the teleports in, and with all that CP, just couldn't get around the board. So it went to Stefan and his Hagnar. However, can we get snaps for Math Mallow? You made us believe, you made us dream in 2021 the story that our beautiful Sylvaneth could be.
Yeah, if we can get some
top.
Fs in the chat for the Sylvaneth. Math Mallow trying his hardest there, and we all believe in him. Big Fs. Like 2-1 in 2021. We're still
Amazing.
loving it. Yeah. We're all super happy with that. So yeah, really good. Look, and another amazing day of Warhammer. Dan, thank you for doing the coverage with me. It's been a delight. Thanks to everyone who's co-hosted with me today, both to Adam and to James. A special thank you. You never see him, mainly because of how he looks. But our table boss, intern Matt, he's been providing us with he's done a great job providing us with all the information all day. He's told me to fuck myself, and I agree.
And he's so good at the job that his role is known as being the intern Matt. Like he is the one and only intern Matt, but his role exists and is named after him. So every future intern will be an intern Matt, whereas he is the intern Matt.
He is. And big shout out to all of the people who've competed today over on TTS. You can join in at any point by joining the Hammer Time Discord as well. Massive thank you. Can we get some love, some fuck you buddies and everything for Owen Jackson in the chat for organising it. He organises all these all the time. He's an absolute treasure. and we're all lucky to have him in the community organising these things. He's definitely going to be my Warhammer hero of 2020, 2021, doesn't matter, whatever this period is. So massive love to him. He's a legend. And of course to you guys, it wouldn't be anywhere near as fun doing this without you guys watching in the Twitch chat, so can't thank you enough. Thank everyone on the Honest Wargamer Patreon support us so we can do this. Anyone who subscribes, donates money, whatever you do, even if you just listen to the podcast, you're all great. Dan, you got any shout outs before we go?
I personally, he already been shouted out, but I've got a couple. The first I want to throw out is to the amazing Owen Jackson. Again, putting on another one. Last time, amazing. This time, going with the fat middle, super exciting. I can't wait to see what you do next time. If it is Tournament of Dragons, I just want to be credited. Yeah, just like a little byline down the bottom there. So honestly, the last one that I commentated on is possibly one of the highlights of my year last year. Commentating on a tournament on TTS, spectacular. Loved that. I want to credit to our wonderful players, Seb and Orkman. That was such a cool game to watch. Amazing, and we came into that game expecting very obvious aggression, and we did get it. But gosh, it was a spectacular game. It was subtle. There was tactics. It was amazing to watch. So massive props to them. That was just an awesome game to watch and have played.
Yeah, it was a great time. You guys were all brilliant as well. Thank you so much. If you want the results, so obviously there's still other games happening. The results will come in. It could be to Philip Cartier with his Phoenix Guard. It could be to anyone. Me and Owen, normally on a Monday, we do tournament results from the weekend. Monday is where we'll talk about that. We do that every Monday on the Sigmar Stats Center. So join us for that. That'll be fun. We're live every day. If you guys haven't joined us before, I'm live every single day at midday, British summertime. So if you want to hang out, we're really close to hitting that 369 now. So very excited. Me and Dan will be back Monday night with Nathan Prescott after his birthday. Do feel free to tweet Nathan Prescott.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It's his birthday week.
Yeah, it's his
birthday week, birthday month.
So do feel free to tweet him today and say you've enjoyed watching TV today, Nathan. Happy birthday. And of course, we'll be back for loads more Warhammer. Looking forward to 2021, Dan. Looking forward to it a lot. So let's have a great year. Love you loads. Love you guys in the chat. Have a great day. See you.